Hello everyone and welcome to the 2021 MX Sim Grand Prix World Championship. It is the MXSG of the Netherlands here in Valkenswaard. My name is Kellen Brouwer here at Starter Systems, bringing you guys the action tonight as we drop the gate on the 2021 GP Championship in the deep sands in the Netherlands, and a great racetrack we have here tonight for us in Valkenswaard. A few track changes here tonight to talk about a little bit, and we're going to take you guys on a quick lap courtesy of atom.com on board with Adam Holm returning to GP racing here tonight as he is qualified here for the MXGP class a little bit later on. But here we go. Adam's going to show us around the track here, and head over to atom.com today. Get yourself some merch and check out some of the cool things that he does over there. And we appreciate him bringing us these hot laps for the streams each and every round this year of the 2021 Grand Prix Championship. You can see here, deep sands of the Netherlands, very, very bumpy track. Pretty much sand whoops all around the racetrack here. And you're going to see a lot of different changes to the track than what we saw last year. Still similar sections through here. Drop down off the top section underneath the Racetech tunnel, then shoot back up the hill. You can almost get that step up all the way up the hill on a 450. But instead of the long left-hand sweeper, you have a pretty quick left-hand downhill into a wall jump right here. And the 450 guys will cut across this corner, double through the inside gap, land on the inside, and just carry speed all the way down this back straightaway. Shorter lap times here than we're usually accustomed to at Valkenswaard. It's usually closer to that 2-minute range, but you're going to see guys hovering down in the low 140s, high 130s actually on this shortened racetrack. So again, just a lot of fast flowing sections. Deep sand here is really going to slow the bikes down if they don't get a good drive. So you got to see, or you're going to see, I should say, a lot of guys take outside lines pretty much throughout the track, or at least the lines that have the best flow. As Holm taking here the line to the inside up to the finish line jump, and you double out of the inside, hit that wall jump and over the finish line jump here, which is a tabletop, into this little chicane, and you're going to go left over this inside hump, back to the right and back to the left again, and then you U-turn yourself back onto the start straightaway, and that is a lap here tonight at the Netherlands in Valkenswaard. Well, it is great to be back live streaming for you guys here. We had a little bit of a hiatus after the season ended in Supercross. Moto Option Supercross ended a few weeks ago. Now we're back racing GPs, and we have the Race Factor Gaming National Championship coming up this Wednesday also at Fox Raceway to kick off the season. So we're going racing, and we're starting things off here in the Netherlands. Of course, this is the NA series, so we're going to see a lot more of the North American-based riders than we will see the EU guys. The EU guys you can catch on some other streams throughout the week, but the NA side, we're going to see kind of the familiar faces that we normally see in the national championship competing here tonight. So let's break it down and see who is fastest qualifier here tonight in the Netherlands as we go back to our live screen and see that actually it's another foreigner at the top of the timesheets in the MXGP class. Tyrone Tomic out of Australia goes fastest on a 129 actually, so into the 129s for these guys, ahead of Braden Carter, your newly crowned Supercross champion. Alexis Leclerc's up there with Colby Eaglin and Jeremy Seabold, so a lot of familiar faces, and Adam Holm back to racing here tonight is has qualified P8 in this race here tonight. And we're going to have a 44-rider MXGP race. The MX2 Consolation race is going on right now, but in the MX2 class, Payson Johnson qualified fastest by just about a second over Isaiah Dickerson, Nathan Prin, Jaden Wilson, Luke Sullivan, all up in the mix. So kind of a lot of the same faces that we saw in Supercross also going to be going to battle here tonight in the Race Factor Gaming Grand Prix Championship. So always good to see that as well. And we're just looking forward to get some good racing started here tonight in the Netherlands as we'll get back into the server. And it looks like they have wrapped up that consolation race, and Jeremy Cohenauer is sitting here on the gate waiting for us. Thankfully enough for him, or a big thank you to him for waiting for us to finish through those little intro reels there. But yeah, we are back here in the Netherlands. See if we can get a little camera overview of the track here. And the thing about the track here in Valkenswaard is it's basically just a long kind of semi-square. I wouldn't call it a semi-circle, but it goes around this road racing circuit down here. I think it's a karting track actually, but you see it's just very long and flowy through this long thin stretch of land through here. The first couple of corners are very fast into this Racetech launch jump. They're going to launch out into the deep sand here and then flow all the way into this back section through the trees and out by this little lake that's kind of developed back here. And then this used to be a step up, now a wall jump. And you'll see how this just kind of flows in through here. Under the Racetech tunnel we go, and then back out up to the top of the hill. and fly ourselves just around the track here. That wall jump, like we said, is new through the chicane down here, and then this long, very familiar back straightaway here at Valkenswaard into the left-hand U-turn. This is one of the most synonymous sections of Valkenswaard, is that long back straightaway into the U-turn, and the rollers coming this way. Then under the big Race Tech step down, it's big kind of table / drop down, step down jump into this right-hand turn. We saw this on board with Adam Holm. But now up to the Race Tech finish line jump, and that is basically a full lap here at Valkenswaard as we are getting set to go. And a new format this year in Race Director Gaming competition. No longer are we just doing 250s and then the 450 class. We are doing 250 Moto 1 and 450 Moto 1 right after that. So you guys are going to see all that live here on Start Your Systems, and we're going straight through with no breaks, so we're not going to have a 5-minute break, a little intermission, anything like that. It is going bam, 250 Moto 1, bam, 450 Moto 1, 250 Moto 2, 450 Moto 2. So a lot of fun to see and be seen here tonight. And it looks like those 40 riders for 250 Moto 1, MX2 Moto 1, I should say, getting lined up on the gate. I will also shout out, but it's not going to go live just yet. Later on in the MXGP class, a little bit later on tonight, our SYS Racing Heckman Productions rider Ethan Parks is going to be taking part in the MXGP class racing, and he's actually going to be streaming his perspective over at twitch.tv/Start Your Systems TV. So if you're wanting to see a little bit of a different view of the racing than the actual broadcast and live display that we have here, you might want to go check that out as well. You can see from his perspective what the track is looking like, how it's breaking down, and we appreciate Ethan jumping on board and doing that. It sounds like he's going to do a lot of that this year. Won't do it at every round, but he will do it at both GPs and Nationals, so you'll want to check that out and, give him some support. As always, though, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Good live audience here tonight already. Good to see a lot of you guys hanging out in here. I'm trying to read through, see if I missed any questions. Yeah, just good to have you guys all here. Thanks so much. Got replays 2749. We got Chase Henriksen, Callum the Chaos Maker, Xander Doxanis, Christian Crockett, Sam H, the MX Hub, Jake Watterson, Brendan Kennedy, Kerr13, Colby Yule. Who else we got? Everybody's here tonight. Evan McLeod, Gavin Kildea, First Turn Films, Colin John Abulation. I hope I'm saying that right. Matt Edwards, Miss L Gaming, Hegs. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We got to get back into the server here. Those 40 bikes. Definitely taking up a lot of load on my computer every now and then. Camera mode, there we go. See all who is out here in MX2 Moto 1 coming up here. And they're out on their parade lap right now. Nathan Prin, Juan Gomez, Nate Brow, Zoa Cross. I should use this as a quick PSA to everybody watching this that is racing in the Pro Series, both for the Nationals and the GP Championship. I delete everything out of my personal folder after Supercross is over, just because I know that everybody loves to do update packs. So I don't like having, let's just say like Panini, if they have 2 packs, Supercross and Motocross, I don't want to have their Supercross pack taking up space in my folder when they have a Motocross pack. So I just delete everything. Unfortunately, that is most likely the cause of why I don't have some of your guys' skins out there tonight. But again, just a PSA to you guys out there to please put your skins in the skins thread so I can be sure to download them and be sure to have them. I do seem to have fairly good amount of them, so yeah. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to kick off the 2021 MXSGP World Championship in the MX2 class. MX2 Race 1 lining up on the gate, 30 minutes plus 2 laps on the board, and that 30 car will go sideways. The track crew worker will get himself out of the way, and we are going to be off and running. It's the MX2 World Championship live on Start Your Systems. Oh, and the 26 has hopped the gate. That might have been Isaiah Dickerson, but it's a land rush into the first corner. Out of the middle was a Yamaha. Was that Almost Casey Cochran getting the whole shot. We're in the middle of the pack here. It's Cade and Spec on the Phil's KTM out front. The number 39 machine, Spec, whole shots again. He has been so good in starts this year, especially earlier on in Supercross, but it was Cochran who led him into the first corner, but just couldn't quite hold it on. Cochran on that BPC Yamaha follows suit right behind him, and then it's Johan Bordeaux on the motorsport.com 394 up front early on as the rest of the field funnels in. Spec leads down the hill and out of the racetrack tunnel at the end of the first lap here. Up the hill, you can see Cochran trying that different inside line, and Bordeaux moving right in behind him. And already the field seeing some separation as everybody tries to funnel in and jockey for some early positions. Spec leads him through down this back straightaway. Cochran is trying to keep him close, and already Payson Johnson on the Covenant machine has moved his way up into the 3 spot. He's putting some pressure here on Casey Cochran. And that 351 machine goes for the triple, tries to double up the inside. Is going to be almost alongside of Cochran, but Cochran around the outside lays the power down and keeps it on. Over the race tech step down, and Johnson applying that pressure now, squares back underneath. Cochran's going to hold it steady for the time being, and they're right on the back of Spec there to complete the first lap, and Johnson will get around him into second place, but close action to complete that first lap. And Bordeaux actually going to go to the outside there. Oh, I'm sorry, that's actually Nathan Prynn on the number 30 moving up there into the 3 spot. So Spec, Johnson, Prynn, and Cochran leading us through at the end of the first lap into that first turn chicane and out again. Johnson putting all kinds of pressure onto the race lead. He's going to launch over him and take the spot and go down at the same time. A big crash for Payson Johnson as he hits the deck hard, and he is going to lose several positions. Fall off crash early in the race costs you so much time, and he's going to go back, looks like just outside of the top 10 as he falls back now behind Neil Fitzpatrick on the Pro Line Designs, number 71. So Johnson momentarily takes the lead and coughs it up immediately. And now Nathan Prynn was able to steal the lead away from Caden Spec after all that chaos and comes through the midsection of the racetrack as your new leader. Rider out of France on the number 30 out front with Spec settling in behind. A little mistake for Cochran in the background. He's got a host of other riders piling up behind him. Here comes Logan Leitzel on the number 37. That's a Phil's KTM as well, and he's trying to put the power down to make a pass on Cochran. So after Cochran started out front and was able to start with the lead group, he's starting to fall back into this a little bit here. Uncharacteristic, as we saw Cochran was so fast in Supercross, but he's already getting shuffled back here a little bit, and Leitzel next in line to try to make something happen. We also have Luke Sullivan on the Phil's KTM number 11 back here with Cooper Hunt and Ethan Gerst giving chase, a couple of Covenant riders, and they get together, teammates down, and that's going to be Gerst getting the worst of it, as Hunt now goes down the backside and loses a couple spots here. That was Hubbard, Manias, and Fitzpatrick going by. We did not see Payson Johnson. That makes it. We also have a pile-up up here. A big pile-up with Sullivan, Leitzel in there, and Spec. He had just gone down as well. So all of our front runners running into some problems. And now Prynn just has Casey Cochran right behind him to deal with. Already, though, Prynn starting to open up a slight gap. Cochran just trying to keep it close. And then that battle for third that was all just crashed together comes marching through. And it's just a group of teammates here. A bunch of the Phil's KTM riders, new team here for this outdoor championship, bunched up together and fighting for this third position. Leitzel under heavy attack right now, though, from Caden Spec on the 39. Spec going to try to go to the outside, but this inside line, at least for the time being, seems to be the preferred option. And we'll see on this track that these lines will change and develop differently because of the deep sand here and the way that the road system works. Usually speaking, those lines that get really deep early on become very bad lines later in the race because there's such huge rollers in the midst of them. So you got to start searching around and feeling out some different lines later in the race. Of course, we are still not even yet 5 minutes into this one, so a lot of time still left to go to figure all that out. But early on, you can already start to see where those developing lines will take a hold of guys. And at the end of the third lap, it is starting to hold a little bit steady with this group. Spec still putting some pressure here on his teammate Logan Leitzel, but is not quite able to close up and make a pass just yet. Meanwhile, in the background, Neil Fitzpatrick, he's made some good passes. He's moved his way up into the 6th spot. He's ahead of Oscar Manias, and Speck, I think that was just going down, coming through the first chicane, and he's going to drop back into 10th, it looks like, as Manias, Hubbard, and Hunt all went by, and Shirley, actually, for that matter. Speck now under attack as well from, that's Ethan Gerst on the Covenant machine, and there's some contact between them as they're trying to avoid some downed riders, and Speck goes in and out of the pond on the outside corner. And look at this group of riders, everybody so closely stacked together as Fitzpatrick, he got caught up in a little bit of a melee just up the road here, lost some spots, so Gerst just went by him. We got Seth Shirley mixed together with all these guys, so at the front of this group now is Cochran, and then you've got Hunt, Hubbard, Shirley, Gerst, Speck, Manias, and Seth Carr bringing up the rear here. And Carr is in 11th, so you can see just how close everybody is in this grouping. And these early moves are so important for the races. Look at that pass right there as Caden Speck absolutely tosses, that was Gerst, I believe, over the berm. And Gerst now going to have to regroup and get back going after that one. Going to lose a couple more spots here. Might lose another spot to Fitzpatrick. Yeah, Fitzpatrick also able to go by, as did Alex Kerr. So Seth Carr, Manias, Speck, Shirley all making some spots up out of that. Meanwhile, Cooper Hunt starting to apply the pressure here to Casey Cochran. And this is now your battle for 4th, as it's still Nathan Prynn out front and leading on the number 30. Luke Sullivan has moved into 2nd. Leitzel now finds himself in 3rd. And here's that battle we were just taking a look at. It's Casey Cochran leading the way with Cooper Hunt and Jacob Hubbard right in tow. So a little 3-rider train early on, trying to figure some stuff out between these guys. See all these guys trying to go triple, then double into the gap and get right up over that little lip coming up the hill. A lot about this type of track and riding, like sand track riding in MX Simulator, is more or less rhythm riding. You don't want to pound through the sand as much as you want to try to jump through the sand and land in little notches, which is very similar to what you see elite pro riders in real life try to do in sand, but it's not always obviously possible. Whereas in this game, it is more likely than not you're going to be trying to do that on every section, downsiding sand rollers, jumping from one sand roller to another. And that is going to help you carry momentum and just keep speed going, because the more you're bouncing, the less momentum you're carrying. You can see here Cooper Hunt trying to rhythm through here and keep touch. But Hubbard actually was able to kind of tire tap his way through and make some nice headway up towards Cochran ahead of him. Ooh, little mistake. Cochran wheelies down the backside of the wall jump, and he was sideways and did not get a good drive for the finish line jump. So now Hubbard is going to eye up that opportunity and then go down just like that. Jacob Hubbard hitting the deck, and several riders going to go by. You can already see how deep that inside line is getting, though. Guys almost disappearing off the screen here going through that section. Nice battle here, though, between Oscar Manias and Seth Carr. Carr has been putting pressure on Manias here for a few laps. Not been able to quite crack the code just yet to get on by. Bouncing his way through as there it is. Finally, Manias makes a small mistake, and Seth Carr able to capitalize on it. Still early goings, though. 9 minutes into this race. And hold on just a second. We've got a battle for the lead brewing. Luke Sullivan has caught Nathan Prynn. So Prynn, who was relatively unheated for the better half of the first part of this race, is now seeing some pressure being applied from Luke Sullivan. And there's some lap traffic now starting to get involved as he's working through the back markers. So Sullivan might sense this opportunity. We'll get a check of the lap times this time by and see how much time Sullivan is able to slice into it and whether or not he is starting to run faster lap times. Lap traffic. Always got to be a little bit wary of them. They're usually pretty good about getting out of the way, but you never know. So Prynn over first, 45.7. He just went down, it looks like, and a 40 flat for Sullivan. So Sullivan didn't have the greatest of laps either, and as such, wasn't quite able to make the pass when Prin hit the deck, because that's most likely a fall-off crash right there. You lose 9 seconds from your best time in a single lap. So now Prin going to try to wick it back up here. He's already opened the gap out to 2.5 seconds. And he's going to do what he can to keep the number 11 machine of Luke Sullivan behind him. But sometimes it comes in a bit of a compound bunches here. You make one small mistake, you lose that focus just a little bit. Could be a fall-off crash, could be just a tip over, or even just a small bobble. And you suddenly are starting to think a little bit more about hitting your marks, where your finger is on the controller, and things like that creep into your mind. And before you know it, you've hit the deck 2 or 3 more times on top of that. So Prin has got to do everything he can here to just kind of regroup and find the same pace that he was doing before, because that pace was excellent and certainly was opening up a nice lead on the field at the front. It looks like he is already settling back in there, but this also could be a bit of a sprint for him right now. I'm going to stick with him till the end of the lap and see whether or not this is going to be his best lap of the race just yet, because he might be doing a little bit extra than he needs to try to get away from Sullivan. But he's already opened it up to almost 4 seconds here in just a single lap. We'll see what it is coming down the line, though. It's been a terrific lap here and just flowing so smoothly over the sand as he brings it down and lays down a 37.7. So not quite his best. I think he's probably settling into a pace again, though. And Sullivan does a 38.8 there, which was a little over a second slower. So Sullivan losing some touch. Casey Cochran has moved into third as Logan Leitzel has made a mistake somewhere on track. We didn't see where, but he has lost that position now as Cochran has gotten back by and into the 3 spot. Cooper Hunt now finds himself in 5th. We got Seth Shirley coming on down here in 6th, with Seth Carr right behind him in 7th. Isaiah Dickerson, first we've seen of Dickerson here on the 26 Underground RC machine in this race. He is running in the 8th spot right now. Ethan Gerst right behind him in 9th. And Caden Speck right now is in 10th. Oscar Manias 11th. Trevor Burns runs in 12th. Here comes Payson Johnson through in 13th. So Johnson, who we saw earlier, momentarily took the race lead and then maybe outstepped his luck just a little bit. Jumped a little too far here on the race tech launch. And it cost him dearly as he has now dropped well down the order. Just made a pass on Oscar Manias that I believe moves him into 12th. But definitely still has his work cut out for him if he is hoping to get some valuable points here out of this first moto. You can't win the championship at the opening round, but you can certainly lose it. And Caden Speck just went down on the back tire there of Burns, and he brought with him Payson Johnson. So Johnson, after making a few more passes here in the mix, loses a few more positions after that crash. I'm not sure how quickly he got collected there, and Manias just went down again. Look at Johnson now. He's getting tired of it, though. He launches the wall down the inside, but then loses ground through the corner there. And something tells me Johnson's not going to be too stoked about his current position in the race back in 13th here coming up to the halfway point of the race. Here is Gerst, though. He is working on Seth Carr, and Gerst on the 16 is now going to pull up alongside of him over the finish line jump. He will just case it, but he's going to make a pass because Dickerson did not clear the jump. These 250Fs looking like they're not quite able to get that power down off the wall jump to carry enough momentum into the finish line jump to clear it. It's a big jump, but certainly these 250s just not quite able to get enough down as Burns also closing up, and down goes Gerst just as quickly as he makes the pass. So Seth Carr moves right back on by, and now Trevor Burns will have his chance to go after Seth Carr, or will Carr open up that gap ahead? And as we do approach the halfway point of this race, we'll peek back out front and take a look at where things are as Nathan Prin works his way through the back section one more time, and he is now thick into some lap traffic. I believe that's Zoa Cross on the 10. He is putting a lap down right there, and boy oh boy does Prin look awfully comfortable here in the sand. Going to start off his MX2 World Championship season off on the right foot. So far, so good, as we are just about halfway in to this race. Sullivan is doing a good job to keep tabs on him, but is losing ground ever so slightly each lap that goes by. And it's really just going to take maybe a couple more laps of kind of the same thing that we're seeing out of these two before Prin is able to put himself out of reach, essentially, by a fall-off crash. So fall-off crash, for those new to MX Simulator, essentially in the area of an 8 to 12 second delay for yourself is when your legs fall off the bike. Your hands cannot fall off the bike in this game, but your legs will. And as the rider kind of scrambles to pick himself up with one foot, usually speaking, it's about an 8 to 12 second crash that happens. So if you can get that gap extended out over 12 seconds, really just 10 seconds, but ideally 12 plus, you're setting yourself really good to be able to push the pace and not worry too much about any mistakes, crashes, or anything of the sort. And Prin is certainly doing a good job of slowly but surely opening up that gap on Sullivan as each lap passes by. So Sullivan's still second. Cooper Hunt is now in third on the Covenant number 20. And this is Cooper Hunt's MO, as we saw earlier on this year in Moto Options Supercross. Steady Eddie wins the race, no question about it. He'll find himself starting somewhere around the top 10 usually, and working his way forward almost always. He's very consistent, very smooth, fluid rider, and new to the Covenant program here for the outdoors in the GPs and Nationals. Already finding himself some good positioning here early on in this championship with a third place run. So far, so good for him. How about this battle brewing right now, though? We have got Casey Cochran with Seth Shirley and the 57 trying to unlap himself, I guess, there. Also finding himself in the mix, and Shirley's getting sandwiched here by a couple lapped riders. Trevor Burns is now finding his way into the mix, and you've got 2 lapped riders mixed in with 3 leaders. Shirley is trying to find a way through on the 67, but just is not quite able to make it happen just yet. And Trevor Burns is going to take full advantage of that. Burns to the outside, tries to get the finish line jump cleared, but he's going to land off the track, and Shirley will go right back by. So not quite able to make it just happen just yet, and these lappers mixed in so heavily. Dickerson now trying to slide his way through, and finally the 67 machine is going to move out of the way. Looks like the 67 and is at the 574 right now. A couple guys battling each other for outside of the points. Is that Seth Shirley way off the track out there? Yes, it is. Seth Shirley, man, he had a wild ride. He's way off the side of the track through the first corner. And he's going to get on just as Ethan Gerst gets there. So several positions lost because that was all close battling. And now Dickerson finds his way up the inside. And also Cochran just went down as well. So Dickerson makes 2 passes. Cochran went down. And Trevor Burns also made a slight mistake. So now Cochran and Burns side by side. They get together. They're down under the Race Tech tunnel. And riders are going to funnel around either side of them. And look at all the positions they're losing. And that's actually Leitzel that clips them and goes down as well. As now more riders funnel around Leitzel. And there's just all sorts of chaos unfolding here at the midpoint of the race. Ooh, getting tossed off there was Ethan Gerst. He got a little bit of help there, I think, from Seth Shirley. And then Cochran down again. So we're starting to see riders experiencing some problems here. I wonder if the erode has done a number to some of these inside lines like we talked about earlier on. And it's now negatively impacting some of the riders out there, because it was just like a flip of a switch where suddenly we're seeing a slew of crashes from your early race leaders. Back to this battle up here. Trevor Burns and Seth Shirley still going to battle, and they're right behind Seth Carr and Jacob Hubbard. All these guys just right mixed together. It's all about jockeying for a position, like I mentioned. You just want to be in a spot where you don't get yourself in trouble, get yourself caught up with another rider, and avoid the crashes that do happen around you. They're going to happen in this game. It's very uncommon you see someone, including the winner, go a full moto without a crash, as Cooper Hunt just had an absolute beauty of a save. He was completely sideways at one point, but really what was happening right there is the rear tire dug in, and he started sliding over one jump, and then it pitched him into the next one, and then he caught and then slid over the next one, and finally was able to corral that Covenant number 20 underneath of him. He does lose a spot to Isaiah Dickerson, but it could have been oh so much worse with yet another fall-off crash there, and a nice job to save it from that crash potentially happening. You can see, though, these guys really struggling to get that double through the inside of the corner. And Hunt got it just well enough to get close enough, and then Dickerson goes down, so yet another crash. Hunt goes back by for third. Dickerson losing positions as riders are going by, I believe, right there. No, Hunt was the only rider that actually passed him, so Dickerson remains 4th. And now coming through is Seth Carr in 5th, with Shirley right behind him in 6th, Hubbard 7th. Logan Leitzel here in 8th. He's going to go off the track. Can he rejoin before this rider comes in? That was just a lapped rider, so Leitzel 8th. Cochran drifts back to 9th, and Burns now finds himself in 10th. Ethan Gerst 11th, Cavacuti 12th, and Payson Johnson still 13th. We got Alex Kerr behind him in 14th. Excuse me, Jack Gatland right here is in 15th, 16th for Jaden Wilson, 17th for Johan Bordeaux on the motorsport.com machine. 18th right now is Neil Fitzpatrick on the Pro Line Design 71, 19th for Caden Speck on the Phil's KTM number 39, and 20th right now is Blake Wickland on the AEO Power Sports number 113. So scoring points right now is Blake Wickland, and we're going to see if that can hold steady, or will someone like Juan Gomez or Jonathan Alexander close this gap up here late in the race and steal that final point away. Flipping off the track there was Dylan Cavacuti. Back to your race leader, though, Nathan Prynn checking in here. Going on to lap number 14 and has stretched his lead out to 13 seconds now on Luke Sullivan, and it looks like he is elected to forego jumping the finish line jump. These 250 guys just not quite able to get that power down enough to make it happen. So Prynn continues to extend his lead, and like we mentioned, has now opened up a gap healthy enough that he can afford to have a fall-off crash and it not be an issue of losing the race lead, as Sullivan's going to come in here, and a lap rider was down in the main line, so Sullivan loses a little bit more time there, having to go offline. Cooper Hunt still in 3rd. Dickerson coming through in 4th, and here is Seth Shirley now inside of the top 5 again, with Logan Leitzel trying to close in. We got 8 minutes and a lap left to go here in MX2 Race 1. The MXGP class getting themselves loaded on the gate, and we will have that race coming up right after this one ends. Whoa, Logan Leitzel absolutely going all over the place there. Trying to keep things close to Shirley ahead of him. It's Trevor Burns behind them. Then Hubbard bouncing his way through. And Cochran. We'll go aboard here with Cochran for a minute, because you can just see, look at the lines in the track. It's definitely getting quite choppy out there. And you can see him just bouncing through everything. Got a kicker right there. Launches out to flat, has to land off the track because of the kick shooting him to the left. He's going to go far left to far right, still trying to get this triple. But you can just kind of see all across the track, because there's many different lines starting to develop, that they're starting to get little chatter here and there, deeper bumps throughout the track. The road is definitely making the track a lot more challenging. And the unfortunate part is that it will go away after this moto, so the 450 riders will start with a completely fresh track again. But you can see as laps wind down and these lines are getting deeper and deeper, guys are starting to have to resort to taking some different lines. Look, not even going for the double through the inside of the corner there. He's completely gone around that line now, and just trying to find smooth options. Still everybody going to the outside here, but really you just need it to carry speed through this section. Cochran flowing quite well here. See what he's able to put down as we almost do a full lap here on board with him. Up and over the wall jump and into the finish line jump. Is he able to clear the finish line jump? He does go for it, and he gets it, a 40.9. See if anybody else topped that last time by. No, so Cochran, fastest rider inside of the top 10 last time by. And man, we've got a change for the lead. I just noticed this. Sullivan had a bad lap, but Prynn had an awful lap. He did a 59 last time by, and that has given Luke Sullivan the lead of the race here tonight. So change for the lead just like that, and Sullivan, after spending so much time just trying to keep it as close as he could, is able to take advantage of Prynn's mistake. Now, can Prynn regroup and start putting the lap times down that he was doing before the crash happened? or crashes, I think, in this case. There's no way he went from running 40s all the way to a 59.3 without a few big mishaps there. Likely some fall-off crashes really wreaking havoc on him here, but now 6.8 seconds down. And we're going to see whether or not he can claw into that lead quickly or not. A 49.3 follows it up next time by, so he has had basically 2 bad laps in a row that more or less cost him somewhere in the area of 20 to 30 seconds. And that's how quickly things can change here in MX Simulator Professional Racing. Even at the top of the game, it is still so challenging to do 30 minutes at speed without little mistakes here and there, some crashes. It happens. These guys are pushing the limits of this game and just trying to get everything out of it that they possibly can. Shout out to Devin Davis as well. Says outdoor hype and drops a $5 donation in chat. Thank you so much, Devin. Always appreciate that. Need to actually turn alerts back on for my stream because I was going to do that for the outdoors. So I'll turn that on after this moto ends. You can see Print actually losing time. I figured I'd stick on board with him to see if that time was going down on the pit board, but it is not going down. He has gone from about 6.5 seconds down as the lap started to out over 8 seconds. And suddenly Luke Sullivan has found his second win here in this race. Wicked it up very nicely after taking over the race lead, and Print is suddenly having to do all of the chasing. Just want to stick to the end here so we can get a perspective on lap times and where these two are in terms of that. Is a 41.1 for Print, but he's almost through the front door, hits a kicker on the finish line jump, and a 40.1 out of Sullivan. So Sullivan definitely has found a nice rhythm here late in the race. He's got 3 minutes and a lap still to go. So let's see if he can just keep this pace up, or will he elect to try to settle it back just a little bit, just enough to hold on to the win. I think from this perspective, you're kind of in that tunnel vision mode. You're putting down good laps. You're in a position to win the race. So why not just keep doing what you're doing? Be extra cautious around lap traffic, of course. But everything else, just keep the flow going. And it looks like that is what Sullivan is trying to do here. Oh, lap rider almost taking Print with him down there. How about Cooper Hunt, though? He has also worked his way up into some consideration here late in this moto. He's not too far off of Print. He's only 13 seconds off the race lead right now as well. So if things get a little feisty up front, Cooper Hunt still in it with a shout at least. Running in third, and comfortably so, as Seth Shirley has now found himself into fourth, but he is a ways back of Cooper Hunt in third. It is Isaiah Dickerson in fifth, Trevor Burns sixth, Casey Cochran runs in seventh, Logan Leitzel running in eighth, Jacob Hubbard is ninth, working his way through some lap riders there. And Ethan Gerst will round out our top 10 here. All right, so let's keep an eye on what's going on out front. 28:30 on the clock right there. So next time by should be the white flag waving. We got 2 laps to go here in the Netherlands, and Nathan Pryn looks like he is starting to close that gap back down again. He is putting the pressure back onto Sullivan to respond to the pace out of Pryn. He's searching for different lines. He's trying to go offline to find the smooth stuff. And it's gone from an 8-second deficit down to a 5-second deficit in just a single lap. Now, the difference there is Sullivan did have to deal with some lap traffic that Pryn himself is now coming into, and that could be the lone difference maker. But it does seem like Pryn is riding with a little bit more of an edge to him as he's trying to close this gap down in the late stages of this race. Sullivan, a 43.1 versus a 39.9, so over 3 seconds faster that time by a lone for Pryn. And I'm just kind of curious to see not lap time, but his line selection here. What is he doing? Is he still just trying to attack the main lines? Is he searching for some different stuff? It looks like he is more or less hitting a lot of the main lines, but every now and again going outside, inside in some areas that he was not before. Doesn't seem like that is helping his case, so I wonder if he's going to try to switch it up again as the final lap comes up here, though. And final lap it will be, 29:55 on the clock. Man, Sullivan is just going to get the time in his favor here as 30 minutes hits now, which means the white flag is coming out this time by. White flag waves. 1 lap to go. No, I'm sorry. Forgot it's a 30 plus 2. I was still thinking it was a 20 plus 1 from Supercross, but it's a 30 plus 2. So now the 2-lap board is out. Excuse me. And that is going to allow Prin a little bit more of an opportunity to close the gap down. However, lost time that time by 42.1 versus a 39.4. So Sullivan responding and opens that gap back out. So it was 3 seconds gained for Prin on 1 lap, and then 2.5 seconds gained for Sullivan on the very next lap. So Sullivan, realizing the gap was coming down, maybe just turned up the throttle just a little bit more. Cooper Hunt still back here. He's 20 seconds off now, so he's lost some ground. Must have had a crash. Seth Shirley now just 8 seconds off. And Dickerson right here behind Shirley. 1 second behind Seth Shirley. So let's see if Isaiah Dickerson and Seth Shirley goes down. And Dickerson is going to hit him. And around the outside of them goes Trevor Burns. So Trevor Burns, he is going to move his way up into the 4 spot. Dickerson now moving into 5th here. And he gets up with Shirley, so they remain in a battle. But Dickerson doesn't lose or gain a position. Shirley in the flip side of it loses 2 spots. And we got Shirley back here now in 6th. Casey Cochran is 7th. Logan Leitzel is 8th. And Payson Johnson has worked his way up to 9th. White flag has just waved for your race leader. And Johnson was hearing he did a 35 not too long ago. So Payson Johnson looks like he has found his groove, but too little too late into this race when he had an opportunity to go for the lead on the 2nd lap of the race and crashed, and that really put him on the back foot because he suddenly had to work his way through a lot of riders out there instead of focus on a battle out front. He's 3 seconds behind P8 right now, so he still has a shot at that, but it looks like that might be about as far as he can hope to get. He's definitely charging right now. He's making up quite a bit of ground on 8th. Over the step down, let's see what he runs this time by to see if it's anywhere close to that 35 he was running. Looks like it certainly could be, as he's closed up on Leitzel in a hurry. And a 37.5. Wow, Johnson flying here in the closing stages of the race. But as mentioned, too little too late. Cooper Hunt just went down, but that's right, Shirley was also down. Oh, Sullivan, he just went down with the lead. I think that's too far of a gap, though. Yeah, Prin coming down the hill right now. He's going to see Sullivan getting up in the distance, and he's probably going to be kicking himself. I think Prin must have gone down not too long ago because that gap is going to end up being about what it was before that crash out of Sullivan. So Sullivan, he's got a couple more corners to go to win this race, but oh man, that was desperation there on that last lap. A little mistake almost cost him the race win. He's just got one more turn to go here, and it looks like he is trying to take it so much easier, just coasting into this final turn, in and out, and kicking off the season the right way. How about this one? Luke Sullivan brings it down and takes the win in MX2 Race 1, the opening round of 2021. Nathan Prin settles in behind him in second, 5.3 seconds down in the end, and Cooper Hunt looks like he most certainly will end up third unless he has a mistake here. Shirley and Cochran have closed up in a hurry, and Cochran coming for it late in the race is trying to go for 4th on Seth Shirley. He can't quite get there just yet, but he's almost alongside over the race tech step down into the final turn, and Shirley through the front door, a huge off for the atom.com rider, and he's going to lose several positions because of it. Cooper Hunt crosses the line 3rd. It'll be Cochran 4th. Trevor Burns will come across the line in 5th. Payson Johnson makes it all the way up to 6th, and Shirley gets up and will finish this one in 7th. Late race heartbreak there for Shirley, and an 8th there for Leitzel. Dickerson in the end will drop back into 9th. And Hubbard looks like he will end up 10th as Lap Rider jumping over top of him. Hubbard will be fine there in 10th. Cavacuti looking like he should be 11th. Gurst here in 12th. And Wilson 13th, the last rider on the lead lap. Behind that, it was Jack Gatland in 14th. Seth Carr crossed in 15th with Neil Fitzpatrick behind him in 16th. Juan Gomez ended up 17th. 18th for Jonathan Alexander. 19th for Johan Bordeaux. And Alex Kerr rounds out your points paying position here at the opening MX2 race of the season. So still waiting for a few guys to finish off, and we'll see whether or not cuts have affected any of this. Got Jaden Wilson. Looks like he is going to be the last runner to bring it down. Oh, and Wilson does literally the exact same thing that Seth Shirley does, but fortunately for him, it will cost him 0 positions as he was in 13th, and he cannot be passed because 14th has already finished the race a lap down. So here comes Jaden Wilson bringing it home, and we'll take a look at cuts as soon as he crosses the line. See if anything changed. And surprisingly, no, nothing changed, and pretty much all throughout our top 20. Luke Sullivan, though, has won the opening MX2 race of 2021, and starting his season off with a strong showing here at Valkenswaard. And we'll see whether or not he can back it up in Moto 2. But unlike we have had for the past 4 or 5 seasons of Race Factory Gaming competition here, he does not have to do it right away. He is going to have a nice little break here to get himself regrouped, maybe rest the hands, relax the thumb pump, get some water in him, and watch a little bit of MXGP racing, because the MXGP race number 1 is about to come up next. All right, MXGP Race 1 coming up next, and now is a good time to remind all you fine folks at home to visit eatrjerky.com. That is right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. R Jerky, the Wageman brothers, on board with us here on Start Your Systems this year. And if you use the code SYS20, that is SYS20, you can save yourself 20% off at eatrjerky.com. Great snack to have on board with you. Just sitting at the desk, you know, you're playing games, you're having a good time. Whatever you're doing with your buddies, you might be playing Sim, you might be playing Fortnite, whatever you're doing, and then you just reach into a nice bag of beef jerky, pull out some good stuff. Very delicious, a lot of different flavors on hand, and if you use that code, you get 20% off your order. So check it out today, and thank you to R Jerky for coming on board this year on the streams. Also, a reminder to everybody watching here right now, if you're interested in looking at a more full-blown first-person perspective of the race all the way through, our guy Ethan Parks over at twitch.tv/startyoursystemstv. Head over there right now if you want and check out his point of view perspective of the racing action coming up here in MXGP Moto number 1. Parks is a very solid rider for us. We're always happy to have him out there on the track for the Heckman Productions SYS Racing program. And he offered to do some POV streaming of his racing on our Twitch channel this year, which I happily agreed. I think that's a fabulous idea. So if you want to head over and check him out, it's twitch.tv/startyoursystemstv. All right, MXGP Race 1 on the gate. We have got Tyler Lang out there. Interesting that I don't have his bike for some reason. Liam Atkinson, Corrington Julian, Sean Hambrook, Zach Palm, Cale Braden, Caleb Hall, Jeremy Cohenauer, Jack Haley, Ethan Parks, Leon Ty, Blake O'Brien, Dylan Smith, Aaron Rockefeller, Matthias Janis, Logan Heagney, Colby Eagland, Chase Donovan, Braden Castellaneta, Devin Davis, Carter Hutcherson, Lance Betcher, Bobby Big Lines, I think that's actually Bobby DeSell, Austin Bear, Brett Thomas, Colby Ewell, Braden Carter, Robert Wilson, Noah Bindus, Tyler Schmidt, Austin LeBeau, Jacob Arnbrister, Jeremy Siebold, Adam Holm back racing here tonight, Trent Adams, Jeffrey Bruns, and Bryce Whelan, Luke Magnetti, Jerome Godbout, Josh Collins, Alexis Leclerc, and Dennis Fjellberg. Of course, Leclerc, your defending MXGP World Champion, rocking the #1 gold plates here tonight. And Tyler Lang is your defending MX2 World Champion, but of course he has moved up to the 450 class this year, so he will be making his MXGP class debut right now. All right, time to kick off the MXGP World Championship here in MX Simulator for the 2021 season. If you want to be the world champion, it all starts right here, right now in Valkenswaard. It is the MXS Grand Prix of Netherlands, and it starts right now. Couple guys getting some good jumps from the outside, but up the inside, it's going to be Braden Carter getting the race tag hole shot, and a gigantic pileup behind him. Only a few riders actually made it through, and Carter has a huge lead through the first section. Carter out front from Hall, Tyler Lang right up at the front as well, and then Josh Collins comes through with Bryce Whelan inside of the top 5. We'll have to see where some of our heavy hitters have ended up, because Carter and Lang definitely getting a big bonus from that huge crash in the first turn. It all started when whoever came into the first turn in second place tucked the front wheel, and a big pile-up caused behind that. There also is, by the way, 44 riders out here in this race. There was going to be just 8 runners in the consolation race, so Race Factor Gaming elected to have a back row start for 4 riders to actually make it in, instead of just only letting 4 more out of an 8-person consolation race make it in. So cool to see that on the part of Race Factor Gaming. But early on, Braden Carter, newly crowned 450 Supercross champion on a new team, the Phil's KTM program, out front and leading in Valkenswaard. And this is exactly what he wanted to see. I mean, I don't think you could script it more perfect than getting the hole shot and pretty much the entire field crashing behind you. He's already got a nice lead built up here as he brings it down to complete the first lap of the race. It's Carter over the finish line jump from your MX2 World Champion Tyler Lang, Josh Collins, Caleb Hall, Bryce Whelan inside of the top 5. Sean Hambrook crosses there in 6th, Trent Adams 7th, Blake O'Brien 8th, Matthias Janis 9th, Cale Braden, Dylan Smith, and then Alexis Leclerc mixed together here with Robert Wilson. So Leclerc must have just skirted through some of that chaos, but did not get a good start because of it. He might have had to come to a complete stop and wait for the field to go by. So Leclerc funnels into the mix, and now he is going to try to set sail on some of the riders ahead of him and make some quick passes and not allow Carter and Lang up front to get too far away before he can say something about it. Look at that, Leclerc just sneaks up the inside of Cale Braden. Braden goes off the side of the track. Colby Eagland, he's up here as well. Dylan Smith, like we saw. Robert Wilson, Ethan Parks, he just laid it down. A couple riders split through, so who all went by? Tyler Smith making a pass. So Tyler Smith made a pass, Jeremy Cohenauer, Logan Heagney, Jeffrey Bruns, Luke Magnetti, Chase Donovan, and then Parks now making some passes back. Look at this chaos back here. Oh, Jack Haley, he's on a 252 stroke here tonight. Jack Daniels Racing number 2. And if you're watching Ethan Parks' stream over at twitch.tv/StarYourSystemsTV, he's in a heated battle right now with Jack Haley on that 2-stroke. So get a little first-person perspective of what it's like to battle with a 252 stroke here in the deep sands of Netherlands. If you head over to that page right now, peek back out front and see what's going on. Carter still leads the race. Tyler Lang right here in second. My lovely wife just brought me in a McFlurry, so I'm going to take a quick bite of that because I don't want that to go to waste. But you can see Lang is tailing Carter, and they're definitely keeping a similar pace. So if those two continue to kind of freight train away out front, Jeremy has Chase Blakely in warm-up and isn't doing anything about it. Huh. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. There's 44 guys that started the race. Let me double check that Blakely was actually here for UID grab and was in the scripted list. Gotta get through all of this stuff. And let's see. I don't see Chase Blakely on that list. Could be blind. Most likely what happens, I mean, they have 44 riders in. Most likely what happens is Blakely was not here for 450 UID grab, which happened at the very start of the night at 5:30 Pacific. And he thought he needed to be here before 450 Moto 1, which he did not. So it looks more than likely that Blakely just straight up missed UID grab. Oh, change for the lead, though, while we were in that screen. Lang has taken over from Carter. So these two swap positions, but they're still fairly close together. Meanwhile, the big bad number one, Alexis Leclerc, has moved his way up into the 3 spot, and he is trying to inch closer and closer. 10 seconds off right now of Carter, 13 seconds off of the lead. So we got a 34.5 out of Lang, a 33.3 out of Carter, and then a 34.4 out of Leclerc. But something tells me next time by, these lap times are going to switch around. And Lang trying to go straight from his MX2 world title right into the 450 class and win on debut, which would be pretty neat to see. 2.2 seconds, so Carter is trying to inch back a little bit closer. Carter's lap not going to be that good this time by because of the crash that cost him the race lead. But let's see what Lang's able to put down. He did a 34.5 before. Now he lays down a 34 flat. Carter, of course, that 39.6. And then Leclerc bringing it down. And Leclerc will run a... Oh, this is the wall jump. Leclerc able to put down a 33.4, so he's able to go faster than these two guys ahead of him. Carter had ran a better lap time, though, so let's stick on board with Carter here for just a minute while I have a little bite. And yes, I think you can bite ice cream, right? What do you call it? I don't know what you eat ice cream, so you can't bite ice cream? I don't know. You definitely can't, like it's not a milkshake. You can't, like, suck ice cream. Yes, thank you, Aiden. Bite. Inhale ice cream. There you go. All right, 2.7 seconds for Carter. Let's see lap times this time by again. Yeah, Jack Haley's racing. He's on a 2-stroke, though. So over the finish line jump, and Lang puts down a 34 flat, a 34.5 out of Carter. And Leclerc doesn't look like he's made any time, so this is probably going to be the exact same lap time as the two guys ahead of him. 34.5, yeah, so 34.5, same thing as Carter. 34 flat for Lang, so he was actually faster last time by, but Carter just got these two sections ultra clean, and he's now just under, just at a second, I should say, back. Oh, Lang, a mistake. Here comes Carter. Oh, it's close. Up the inside, Carter goes for the step up the hill. Lang's going to try to fight back on the inside. I think Carter has the pass, but Lang has the inside line so far and holds the position. Look at Carter, though. Oh, he lands on him. He lands on Lang, and Lang goes down. Carter stays up and continues on. Lang now going to see Leclerc coming down the hill right behind him. You knew that had the potential with Carter going for the launch down the hill. I didn't think he would try it, and I thought if he did that Lang might be wary to that being the possibility. Either way, you have to blame Carter for jumping onto his back. You can't blame Lang for riding the race line and getting landed on. Unfortunate to see it unfold that way, though, but now we have ourselves a little battle brewing here for second between your two world champions, reigning MX2 world champion Tyler Lang and your reigning and current MXGP world champion Alexis Leclerc. So we've just got a slew of champions out front right now. Carter, newly crowned 450 Supercross champ, and the two reigning world champs battling it out for second. This is the kind of talent you get in this 450 class, and that's Carter. That is Carter on the ground through the S-turns. So that puts Lang back into the race lead. Leclerc second, and Carter back to third. But we did see Carter had the pace, at least when he was leading, to go faster than these guys. 33.3, only guy in that range. A 33.4 for Leclerc, so he's a 10th off at their best. But we'll see whether or not anything comes of this. Trying to stick with these guys in the early runnings, because later in the race, if things open up and we missed all this action early on, we'll be kicking ourselves. So sorry to people a little further back who are maybe not checking out. But look at this. Just over a second in it between Carter and Leclerc. Scrubbing over the race tech, step down. Just trying to carry speed through these sections. Carter absolutely flying, gets the double. He is right up there on Leclerc, and Leclerc has caught Lang. We've got a three-rider battle for the lead over the finish line jump. 41.2 for Carter, so that was the mistake. And a 34.3 and a 34.7 ahead of him. They are just diving through lap traffic right now. Riders down everywhere, and Carter putting the pressure on the defending champion. Has to back out of it a little bit. Mistake, and was that Lang going down? No, that was not. But Carter is jumping by Leclerc, but oh, and Lang did just go down. Lang went down off the race tech launch, and Carter goes right back to the lead, a 2-for-1 in a straightaway. And Leclerc has to regroup and go back after it. Lang crashed away the lead, though. He gets up, still in third, but has lost ground with our two leaders. So what does Leclerc have now for Carter? Leclerc just looks like he is not quite going the same pace as Carter right now. Oh, lapped riders playing a bit of a part in this one. Leclerc trying to weave through them, and it's getting dicey. It's going to allow Lang to close that gap down a little bit more. So Carter now leads the race from Alexis Leclerc. Tyler Lang runs here in third. Bryce Whelan a strong fourth. Josh Collins still in fifth. Alexa yelling at me over it. Yeah, whatever. Colby Eaglin runs in sixth. Matthias Janis here in seventh. Blake O'Brien runs in eighth. Sean Hambrook is ninth. Dylan Smith in 10th. Jack Haley up to 11th on the two-stroke. People will be loving that. Listen on board here for a minute. Ah, the sweet sound of a two-stroke in the sand. So he's got Luke Magnetti right behind him, Robert Wilson, Cale Braden, Trent Adams, Devin Davis, Logan Heagney, Adam Holm, Steve Harris, Jerome Godbout, and that is our top 20 right now. Don't envy Haley riding a two-stroke in the sand either. Any battles close right now? Everybody's fairly spread apart. So let's just stick with the lead group for a little while and see if anything changes as we approach the halfway point of this race. Maybe we can check in on lap times again. Braden Carter coming in with a 4-second lead this time by. Looking comfortable out front. And Carter able to put down a 33 flat, resets fastest lap of the race. Absolutely flying out there. A 34.2, Leclerc unable to match the pace, can't get the finish line jump either. And then a 35 flat out of Lang. So, looking at about 10 seconds between the three. And Carter the one opening up the gap slowly but surely on the rest of them. Surprising to see. That is just not common outdoors to see Leclerc being kind of out hot lapped. But Carter is doing it for sure right now. Looks like he has just got that Phil's KTM dialed too. He is carrying so much speed through the corners. Look at how far he launches up the hill, even hitting that inside roller. It kind of looks similar to what we've seen out of Leclerc over the years, where you're just like, how is he getting the drive that he's getting? It looks like he's riding on a different surface, like it's not sand. He's just going so fast. So halfway in, and this lap looks like a beauty as well. He's even stretched the gap out on Leclerc even more now. A little short on the step down, so that's going to cost him a slight bit of time, but gosh, he's carrying so much speed, I don't know if it really matters. Let's see if he goes sub 33 this time by. The finish line jump, no, 34.3. So Leclerc is probably going to just about match that, it looks like. Oh, 36.1, Leclerc actually losing time, and Lang this time goes 35.6. So it's kind of all mixed around. GPs are fairly new to the game. There used to be a different company, MXS EMF, used to run GPs. So the answer is no. Nobody has ever won all three major titles in the same season. You know, talking about GPs, Nationals, and Supercross. But that's because GPs, in terms of like a race strategy gaming platform, is still very new. So riders that have won both titles indoors and out in the same season, just two, Leclerc and Fresquez, only two to ever do it. And that's 450, of course. There's been 250 guys that have won both titles, but it's pretty tough to do it in this 450 class. Looks like Leclerc is maybe a little bit closer this time. Not sure if maybe he's running a fast lap or if Carter was a little bit off the pace. Look at all the speed Leclerc is carrying. He actually had to check up to triple that. The 250 guys are getting everything out of the bike that they can to triple that. And Leclerc is going so fast he actually had to let off the throttle and let it coast over it so he didn't overjump it. It's insane the speed that these 450s can carry on a track like this. And Leclerc puts down a 34 flat to a 36.5, so 2.5 seconds gained that last lap alone. And Lang, he just did a 33.3, did Lang. So Lang is keeping Leclerc honest, all the while Leclerc closing up on Carter out front. This has got the potential to get interesting late, so let's find some other battles for the meantime, if there are any. I mean, oh, Janice, he just goes down. Front wheel over the outside of the berm there, and going to lose... No, not going to lose a spot. Sean Hambrook was not close enough to get by, nor was Luke Magnetti. Here is Jack Haley. Is he inside the top 10? He is. He is 10th right now on a 252 stroke in the sand. And he's got some strong competition still behind him. So this is no slouch of a ride. Jack Haley is absolutely shredding right now. on a 252 stroke. Adam Holm has worked his way up into 11th. So Holm continues to march forward. And it sounds like he was dead last on the first lap. So good charge for Adam Holm, getting back into the swing of things. Spoke with him a little bit earlier today, and so he had taken some time off from the game, as you saw. You know, basically had his swan song of a race at Daytona earlier this year. Says that he was working a regular job and just decided, let's get back into sim, and said he's just been having so much fun since getting back into sim lately that he decided, I'll just come back, I'll get ready, I'll put in the time I need to get ready for the outdoors, get his team set up and all that, and he's back at it. So we'll see Adam Holm not only in this Grand Prix season, but in the Race Tractor Gaming Pro Motocross Championship as well. Now that's always a good sign to see some heavy competition like that back out here at the races. Man, there's just so much drama in these top three riders because all three of them have so many accolades, yet the pressure is on just to win this opening round. Want to start off on the right foot, want to set the tone early in this championship. And when you get three guys of this caliber on a very close stretch of racetrack together, it's always exciting to see how it unfolds. But it looks like Leclerc went down. He did. Leclerc has crashed out of second place, and Tyler Lang has taken full advantage of it to go into second. Lap traffic aplenty. There's lap riders everywhere, but Lang now 10 seconds off of Carter, and Carter just got a bit of a break right there. So Leclerc was kind of closing that gap down. It was about 4 seconds, a 33.6 out of Carter, a 33.5 last time by for Lang. Let's see if he's able to match it again and do something similar. Ooh, 38.4, not a good one out of Lang. And then, of course, Leclerc had a crash, a 45 flat. So Carter, like I said, big break right there. Oh, Leclerc kind of hung up on the inside right there, losing some ground to Tyler Lang. Still wheeling in fourth. Eagland has now found his way up into fifth around Josh Collins, who's still having a very strong ride here in the sixth spot. Luke Magnetti is in seventh, Janice eighth, Jack Haley up into ninth, and Sean Hambrook has dropped back down into 10th. So Holm is 11th. It's going to be tough to get much further up than that, though. He is flying around this track, but he's got a gap up to Sean Hambrook. He could maybe get to Hambrook and Haley. I guess Janice and Magnetti wouldn't be that far out of reach either, but that would be the max, I think, for him. Collins is way further up the road. Leclerc going to be kicking himself, and he's cost himself another spot, actually. He's cost himself 2 more spots. Leclerc has gone down to 5th. Whelan and Eagland have both gone by. My goodness, is there a lot of lap traffic mixed in here. So Leclerc has lost a lot of touch in a hurry to the lead group, and look at how many lap riders are going through here right now. Leclerc trying to weave through it all. And Eagland, I think, must have gotten caught up in some of it because he lost a position to Leclerc in all of this melee. Crazy change of events again right there. Want to go back and find Jeremy Seabolt. Here, and he's back here in 18th, just laying down burners. He's got a 130.2, just trying to make up maximum points in this race at this point. And weaving around there for 16th. He's 5 seconds off of 15th. And it sounds like he is just ripping it. Shout out to Jace Rife in chat for the tip. We'll sit on board here with Seabolt and see what it's like to be running 16th and not wanting to finish 16th pretty much. Maximize your points. You got to be flying around this track to go much higher than where he is. He's going to have his work cut out for him too once he gets up to maybe 14th here or 15th, I guess. Once he makes a pass for 15th, he's got a huge gap ahead of that. And unfortunately for him, too, he's been lapped. So Gonna have pretty much one less lap to do something about it. Looking like maybe 12th he could hope for, but that would be a massive mistake for Adams and Heagney up here. And Jerome Gabo would also have to make some big problems as well. All right, so Carter still leads, Lang second, Leclerc third, Eagland fourth, Josh Collins now up into fifth. Bryce Whelan has slipped back to sixth. I think that was him that was just down right there. Magnetti is seventh, Jack Haley eighth. Oh, Hambrook down in ninth, and plowing into him was a lap rider for a double fall off. So Adam Holm, I'm sorry, that was actually for 10th that Hambrook went down. Oh, it was Janice, I'm sorry, that hit him. So Janice over the top of the hill landed on Hambrook, and suddenly you got two riders in striking distance here for Adam Holm that were pretty far out of reach not too long ago. A double fall off is awful for Hambrook there, who was in a position where he was unlikely to get caught and lose a top 10. So through the wave section back here, he's trying to regroup and keep Matthias Janice behind him, but Janice is going to have Adam Holm closing in before long. And now Janice, he's trying to size up a pass here. Oh, Hambrook goes off the track, and Janice is able to make that pass stick. But here comes Adam Holm into the wall jump. Oh, and Janice loops out on the backside. Holm moves up to 10th, Hambrook up to 9th. Hambrook short on the finish line jump, and here comes Adam Holm looking for the 9 spot. Outside to in. And he puts him on the ground, and it takes him down as well. He was trying to go for the inside line, and Hambrook was trying to race him to the spot. They collide and both go down. That is going to allow Janice back by. So Holm back into 10th. I was going to try to go back after Janice to get back into that 9 spot. But again, with the chaos and crashing, 8th is way up the road. And it's Jack Haley. He is like, oh my gosh, he's like 6 sections ahead of these guys. He's so far ahead. So very unlikely either of these guys are able to work their way up further than 9th. Got to change for the lead out front. Change for the lead out front. Tyler Lang has taken it back over. Carter, something happened to Braden Carter, and we are in just the exact same spot we were not too long ago, where Lang was leading. After a Carter mistake, Carter had to charge again to catch and pass him. And he's got to do it all over again. The difference is Leclerc is not close, so Carter can kind of throw caution to the wind here for the simple fact that even if he falls, he's not going to lose second spot. So he can kind of put the hammer down here. If he crashes, whatever. He's already in second. He can go for the win here by absolutely hammering it and seeing if he can get close. Oh, and that is going to cost him as he goes off the track. That was a lapped rider that was down there in the corner on the outside. Not sure who exactly that was, but Carter now getting going amidst all of the chaos, and there's Leclerc going the other way. But that's going to be a big sigh of relief for Tyler Lang. And Lang, fresh off of that MX2 World Championship, sitting pretty comfortable to win on debut here in the MXGP class. Leclerc still back here. Eagland has just been stalking Leclerc here for the better half of the last 10 minutes. And he's definitely kept it close enough to make Leclerc think just a little bit more about what's going on behind him and not try to focus on the race ahead of him, especially because for Leclerc, he's still got a ways to go to get to Carter. He is 17-ish, 18 seconds behind Carter. So you need a couple more mistakes out of Carter, which when you're in this position in these races, you start doing that kind of math in your head, and you just, the incentive of pushing forward wanes a little bit. Been in this position before, not necessarily battling for a podium like Leclerc is here, but maybe trying to battle for you know, a top 10 in the race or something like that. You're running 11th, 12th. You see how far the gap is ahead of you to get to the next spot, and your mind kind of switches gears and you start focusing on just consistency and not crashing instead of trying to focus on charging forward. And because of that, riders come up behind you and have that carrot dangling in front of them. They have you to try to catch. So Leclerc with no carrot has now been caught and passed by Colby Eagland. Eagland moves up into third. And now the battle's really on. Leclerc has to try to fight back here and not let the 40 machine get away. Smart by Eagland, though, just waiting Leclerc out and waiting for a mistake potentially to happen to the defending champion. And when it did, a small one at that, Eagland pounced on the opportunity and has taken over third. Leclerc does not look like he is done in the slightest. Oh, traffic coming back on right next to Eagland. Nothing in it between these two, though. Leclerc hounding, putting the pressure on. A mistake for Eagland. Leclerc back up the inside. Gonna get by. Eagland has to go back to work, and then Leclerc goes down. Leclerc down. He's not off the bike, but he got a big kick through that first turn. And Eagland right there to take full advantage. So now Leclerc picks himself back up. It's a pretty good-sized gap back to Whelan. Josh Collins there is in 6th. Jack Haley is in 7th. Unbelievable effort here for Jack Haley on the Jack Daniels Racing number 2, a 2-stroke out here inside of the top 10 at the MXS Grand Prix of the Netherlands in Valkenswaard. Great ride, no doubt about it. Luke Magnetti, he is running in the 8th spot. Matthias Janis 9th, and Holmes still here, still working on Janis for the 9th spot, rounding out your top 10 currently. So meanwhile, back to your leader. Looks like 2-lap boards should be out. There's 46 seconds past the 30 mark. And I'm almost positive Lang is not 55 seconds up the track from the finish line. So 2-lap board out. Lang looking strong here to get the win to start off the season. Carter here in 2nd. Eagland, as we mentioned, in 3rd. Leclerc 4th. Whelan 5th. Collins keeping it close in 6th. Haley 7th. Magnetti 8th. Janis 9th. Here comes Holm. Battle for 9th on track. Adam Holm putting the pressure on Matthias Janis. It's close. Holm up the inside is going to make the pass. Nice move from your 2019 world champion. Janis trying to fight back. He's got the line and right back. What a move. Matthias Janis through the ruts. Doubles up the inside and gets Holm right back. And the battle continues. Holm trying to find the sweet spot in the corner. Pushing a little bit too hard. Oh, he's down. Got a little bit of a booter coming into that corner and kicked the rear end up. Landed sideways. It kicked back the other direction. And down Adam Holm went. He also just got lapped, as did Janis, which means Luke Magnetti is the last rider on the lead lap as Tyler Lang comes through down by the mechanics area on the final lap of the race here. Gonna take it easy as riders go flipping through. Carter down after the finish line jump, and Eagland going to sense an opportunity perhaps here as Carter picks himself back up about 5-ish seconds up the road here. You see Eagland coming through after the finish line jump now behind him. That should all but solidify the win for Lang, which was almost a foregone conclusion already, but now it is really in the bag, and instead puts the pressure on Carter to hold on for 2nd. This race is not over for the 2 spot, and Carter just trying to regroup and not have a compounded mistake turn into loss in points. Eagland right there. Leclerc still also right in the mix. Any of these guys are hoping to get by Carter. Look at how far Leclerc launches down that hill to the outside. Carrying speed through Eagland. Oh, Lang just went down with a corner to go. But no harm, no foul. He's going to pick it up and bring this thing down. So how about this? Fresh off of his MX2 World Championship, on debut in the MXGP class. Tyler Lang goes right to the top of the board. Tyler Lang wins the opening MXGP Moto of the season. Braden Carter looks like he will hold on for second. Eagland has Leclerc closing up. Lapped riders in play here. Oh, Leclerc is absolutely flying into the finish line jump. He's going to try to launch the wall to the finish line. I can't believe it. Does he get it? No, he just misses out. And Eagland over the finish line jump. Kind of surprised Leclerc didn't try to land nose first so he could poke up the finish line jump and still finish ahead of him, but it was oh so close. He only ends up 8 seconds down in the end, which pretty much shows he would have had him had he actually got it. It was so close at the line, but he just shorted it into the face of the jump and didn't quite get it there to finish on the box. So Leclerc 4th. Bryce Whelan's going to come on down here and finish this one up in 5th. Terrific ride for him. Josh Collins starts his season off with a strong result here in 6th. Jack Haley looks like he can fix his front end lock a little bit there. He'll be 7th. And Luke Magnetti will finish 8th no matter what, because 9th finished a lap down. It was Matthias Janis, the first rider, a lap down. Adam Holm finished up here in 10th. Sean Hambrook, a strong ride for him in 11th. Jeremy Seabolt finished up in 12th. Logan Heagney was 13th. Trent Adams in 14th. Jerome Godboat finished up in 15th. 16th for Devin Davis. 17th was Caleb Hall. 18th for Braden Castellaneta. 19th for Robert Wilson. And 20th was Dylan Smith. We'll have to wait for cuts to come in to confirm, but it looks like that is how they finished here in the first moto at Valkenswaard. So riders still across the finish line jump, and there we go. We just got cuts in now. Nothing changes inside of your top 10. Let's see if anything changed inside of the points bank positions. Yeah, Seabolt loses 2 spots. He goes from 12th to 14th on cuts. But the rest stayed the same throughout. So Tyler Lang takes the opening moto of the season. And Colby Eagland is so happy he has decided to place his bike right on top of Tyler Lang there. Lang just getting absolutely sat on right now. I think Carter's going to probably kick himself a little bit for that one. Eagland, a strong ride to end up in 3rd. And Leclerc, he'll get to keep running those gold plates, but as of right now, the red plates that are probably sitting behind them are coming off the bike unless he can turn it around in Moto 2. And speaking of Moto 2, here comes MX2 Moto 2. That's right, we are switching back to the MX2 class as they have their second motos coming up. So remember that first MX2 moto, we were able to see Luke Sullivan get it done in a close battle there with Nathan Prynn. Can somebody else step up? Can Payson Johnson have a better start? What do you think, chat? Got 222 of you guys here. Who's winning this second MX2 race and coming out on top with the overall? All right. Yeah, Tim, thank you for tuning in. All right, we got some people saying Prynn can take the win in this one. Payson Johnson for the comeback. Oh, Payson Johnson with the tire tap backflip on stream. Yeah, Sullivan's definitely consistent. We'll see how he fares in the second moto after the win in the first moto. And thank you, Tina Williamson. I'm your biggest fan, actually. Thank you for tuning in. Who are we going to take a look at on the start here? Perhaps Payson would be a good one to take a look at. Just waiting for these guys to load in, and we will be racing here in MX2 race number 2. All right, riders loaded into the gate. That RFGP Race Tech 30 board spins sideways, the run off the track, and here we go. It's MX2 race 2 in the Netherlands. And this time, Payson Johnson's going to get the hole shot. Race Tech hole shot award for Payson Johnson. In and out of the first corner, so clean. And a lot of chaos going on behind him. Johnson from Spec. Jaden Wilson up front early on. Luke Sullivan, he's got a good start. Seth Shirley's in here. Cochran gets taken to the ground. By Cooper Hunt jumping over the inside. A lot of the heavy hitters up front early on. Who's that going down, though? Oh, Spec hitting the deck. Johnson already opening up a nice lead out front, though. And he's just trying to get away before all the chaos finds him. So Johnson leads. Wilson, his teammate, right behind him in second. Sullivan already up into third. And this could be a crucial juncture in the race. Sullivan, can he quickly get around Jaden Wilson for second? Wilson's going to be difficult to pass, no question. But Sullivan, after winning the first moto, if he wants to go 1-1 and keep Payson Johnson close, he's going to have to get around Wilson quickly and try to keep Payson Johnson in his sights. Easier said than done, of course. At least for the sake of the overall, though, Sullivan, with a third place at the moment, is in line to win the Grand Prix. But he's got pretty much all the guys that were right behind him in the first moto. Sans Prin. We don't see Nathan Prin in this group just yet. You can see how close these guys are early on, though, and so crucial not to crash at this early stage of the race. Seth Shirley trying to carry speed through that corner. Actually has Hubbard closing up, trying to go up the inside of him on that 778. Ooh, mistake there, actually. I think that was Hubbard. See how close just everybody still is, though. Leitzel gets up the inside of Seth Carr. Carr fights back. Leitzel has a drive down the back straightaway. It's a drag race. So close. So Sullivan's actually lost ground. Jaden Wilson has turned it up here early on. And he's going to be the one that is keeping his teammate, Payson Johnson, out front honest. But Johnson absolutely flying. One full lap in the books, a 35.5 to a 36.1 out of Wilson. And you see Sullivan 38.6, 38.9 out of Shirley, a 40 point out of Hunt, a 39.2 out of Leitzel, 40.2 out of Carr, 41 flat out of Cavacuti, 43.8 out of Hubbard, and a 41.8 out of Frank Jackson, with Trevor Spencer on a 42.6, battling him inside of the top 10. And a long freight train of riders coming over the finish line, jump behind them, but you can see Spencer dealing with pressure from either side of him through the first turns. Gerst and Fitzpatrick in this group as well. Oof, big case on that fourth roller in line. Look at this three-rider train. A little mistake there for... is that Gerst? No, I'm sorry, it's Trevor Spencer. And Frank Jackson able to avoid whoever was just going down right there. Somebody just went down. That was Gerst, I'm sorry, that went down on the wall jump. Now he's got Cochran right behind him and Manias right in front of him. Prin way back early on as Chris Post goes down. Let's actually try to find where Nathan Prin is, man, who finished second in the first moto. He's back here right behind Isaiah Dickerson in 31st. So Dickerson and Prin, a couple guys coming into this one that were hopeful to win the second moto and challenge for the overall victory on the day, have a long road ahead of them. Never a good sign to look up at your mini-map and see that many dots ahead of you. Prin's going to do what he can to get around him. There's 3 spots right there, 3 guys on the ground, so he's up to 28th. Laying it over on the Race Tech step down. Because the inside makes up another spot into the wall jump. There's 3-4 more guys right in front of him now. So he's trying to close that gap down. But this is what it's like sometimes. You get a bad start and you just have to charge for everything it's worth to make up these passes early on. You get into the later stage of the race and you're still down here, the gaps are gigantic and you're looking at a almost impossible task of still scoring points trying to get through these gaps. Look at that pass that he just made, though. He just went from 27th to 21st by threading the needle, essentially. And there's Cochran. So Prin, just like that, is up into the points. Prin absolutely flying around this track right now, though. 39.1 last time by. Looks like it'll be even better this time by, but he had to do some really close maneuvering through some tricky conditions with riders going down all around him. And he's already catching the next group ahead of him, which looks like it's going to get him up to about 15th if he gets around them. It's not going to matter too much, though, because with Sullivan up towards the front, he's going to need an absolute disaster out of Sullivan for Prin to stand a chance to win this Grand Prix. And then you also factor in that Payson Johnson was 6th in the first moto, and he has got a sizable lead right now in the second moto. So 6-1 could still do it depending on the situation with everybody else. Here is Johnson out front. Already looking like he is settling into a cruise control type of pace. 7 minutes into this 30-minute plus 2-lap MX2 Race 2 through the wave section. Got Jaden Wilson, his teammates still behind him in second, and Sullivan just about the same gap that we saw last time right behind Wilson. Not really making any inroads, but again, doesn't need to. He is still right now in a position to win the first Grand Prix of the season and take the red plates with him. Up and over the Race Tech step down. He's got Seth Shirley behind him in 4th. Another strong effort here from Shirley, who almost had 4th in the first moto, but crashed right here coming into the last turn. and would end up in 7th instead. Logan Leitzel here rounding out the top 5. And a strong effort here for the 37 machine today, and we're already starting to see these 250 guys struggling to get over that tabletop for the finish line jump. Jacob Hubbard here runs in 6th, Dylan Capicuti in 7th, Seth Carr over the finish line jump in 8th, Trevor Burns in 9th, and Cooper Hunt rounds out your top 10. Jack Gatland in 11th, Trevor Spencer in 12th, Neil Fitzpatrick in 13th, Oscar Manias is 14th, Braden Tharp over the line in 15th. Chris Post here 16th alongside Prin, who's already up to 17th and goes to 16th just like that. So Prin continues to charge forward and looking really strong. So at the very least, what he's doing for himself is offering him the ability to salvage quite a few points, even if he's not going to win the overall on the day. So 32.4 last time by for Johnson, out to 15 seconds of a race lead, and lays down a 33.5 right after it. I mean, we're looking at, 32.4, 33.5. These are the type of lap times that the 450 guys were running at their best. Obviously, Seabolt went down into the 30s at one point, but Leclerc, Lang, Carter, they were running, close to that 32, 33 range for their best laps, and they were the ones winning the 450 class. Johnson right now pulling away in this 250 race, putting down 32s and 33s. Just incredible stuff. Johnson now stretching that lead out even more in this. This pace seems unsustainable, but the thing about it is Johnson is opening up such a sizable gap that he can do something that you don't often get the luxury to do, which is you can kind of just run qualifying laps every lap, because on the off chance you crash, you have several crashes to give up. He could crash twice right now and still hold on to the race lead, for example. So you just put in these qualifying laps, continue to stretch the lead out. Before long, they have 3 crashes before you give up the lead. And you have 4 crashes. It just keeps going and going. And some of these guys, realistically, on their perfect days, can run this pace for 30 straight minutes. So right now, it looks like, at least so far, it's just Payson Johnson's day. He is finding the groove and absolutely flying around this track. Another 33.5, back-to-back 33.5s. Just to give you some insight to that, Luke Sullivan right now has moved up into 2nd. He did a 36 flat last time by, which means that last lap alone, he lost 2.5 seconds to Johnson. And we'll see how many seconds he lost this lap alone, which is saying something for the guy that won the first moto. And he's losing that much time hand over fist. 37.2, so that is, 3.7 seconds on a single lap lost? Absolutely flying right now, Payson Johnson out front. So Sullivan has gotten around Jaden Wilson. A mistake for Wilson cost him that 2 spot. And Seth Shirley now finds himself here in 4th behind them. Leitzel and Hubbard set to do some battling here. Hubbard has slowly been inching forwards towards the top 5 this entire moto, and is now in a pretty good position to do something about it. Though he does have Dylan Cavicuti hot on his heels as well. This is a little 3-rider battle brewing. Ooh, Cavicuti launches. Not quite enough though, as Hubbard holds it tidy. And now Hubbard went right up the inside of Leitzel at the top of the hill and got around him as well. So the 778 machine on the move, making a few quick passes. Did he bring Cavicuti with him? No, that's a lapped rider. Oh, Johnson hits the ground so hard, the rear end kicks up and he just rides the nose. But a 31.2 out of Pace and Johnson, now we are in the realm where the only faster race lap that has been ran all night long, including the 450 class, is Jeremy Seabolt's 30. I think it's a 30.5 if I remember right. So Johnson knocking on the door of some of the best 450 lap times. And I'll tell you what, folks, what would be interesting is if Johnson's able to keep up this breakneck pace, weed through lap traffic relatively easily. I want to see total race time. I'll mark it down after this one ends to see what Johnson's total race time was and how many laps he completed, and see, hey, what do you finish in the 450 race? Because he is ripping right now. He's going so fast. 32-second lead. Lap rider's got to be like, are you kidding me? We're not even halfway in and you're lapping me already? Unbelievable. 34.9. I mean, gosh, just such a slow lap for Johnson. He's going 2 seconds a lap faster than anybody else on his off laps right now. Oh my goodness. Meanwhile, Wilson has got back around into second place, so another mistake for Sullivan. But again, it seems like these two are just kind of racing for second as a formality. Obviously, is going to benefit points-wise Sullivan to finish second. He'll get 2 extra points towards the championship, but the Grand Prix is still in his hands. He will win the MXS Grand Prix of the Netherlands with this third-place finish, coupled with his first moto win. Seth Shirley fourth, Leitzel fifth, and Hubbard still right there, knocking on the door, trying to go into the top 5. Up over that finish line table, and a mistake. And unfortunately for Hubbard, he hits it, and it spins him around the wrong way. He was very fortunate not to fall off the bike, I should say. But Leitzel, just a little tip over, he rights the ship right away and gets going. Hubbard hits him and does a complete 180, has to turn the bike back around. Seth Carr has suddenly closed right up with Cooper Hunt and Trevor Burns, so this is a terrific battle for, what is this, 5th now? 6th, I should say, with Hubbard at the front of it. Look at 4 riders almost nose to tail going up the hill here. Hubbard, Carr, Hunt, and Burns. Oh, mistake. Seth Carr going to the outside, losing a spot to Hunt. So Cooper Hunt on the hunt, trying to close this gap down. Like Burns might actually be the aggressor in this group. He is caught right up to the tail feathers here of Cooper Hunt. Pretty strong line on the right side of the wall jump. Is going to stay low, but can he still jump the finish line jump from there? Wow, yeah, he actually got it smooth as butter compared to Hunt, who came up short. So now Burns trying to close up onto Hubbard. And this has all happened so quickly. Burns has gone from the back of this group to almost the front of it. Newfound confidence for Burns after winning his first career Supercross race just a few weeks ago. And there's contact as Hubbard lands on the side of him. And through goes, I think that was Seth Carr. There goes Cavacuti. Yeah, it was Carr going by. It's an unfortunate end to that bid as Burns was flying, and immediately it's all for naught with one little mistake out of Hubbard. Got Cooper Hunt back here, Jack Gatland, and Prin. Prin is now up to 12th, and surprisingly not too far off of that battle that we were just looking at, which was for 6th, remember. So Prin was still a little under half the race to go, has a shot at least at ending himself up close to the top 5. 2 seconds back of Gatland there, so Prin, the rider out of France, catching up to Gatland, the rider out of Great Britain. Ooh, a little kick there through the corner. Or maybe Prin did it on purpose. Still get the double, but man, he's flying right now. 35.6, that's his fastest lap of the entire race for him. Trying so hard to close this gap down. And another thing to keep note of is he is not too far away from being lapped, so I think he wants to try to not get lapped at all costs so that it doesn't cost him more time having to let the leaders go by. Oh, Cooper Hunt went down. Cooper Hunt hitting the deck on the 20. That allows Prin through into 11th. Gatland moves up into 10th. Gatland kind of hopping through the bumps there. Up the inside, Prin trying a different line down to the bottom of the hill, goes to the outside, but then runs into some problems. Couldn't quite hook the rut. All these guys still going for that double through the corner. And Prin lost a spot back to Cooper Hunt, so now got to try to make that back. All the while Hunt trying to close up onto Gatland as we just about crest into the 20-minute mark of this race. Oh, Hunt into the hay bale on the outside, and he's going to get high centered. I'm not sure what he was doing right there. He just took a long time to get going. I wonder if he did a setup change or something. Interesting. You have to wait 2 seconds at full stop before you can change your setup, so that may have been that. Oscar Manias getting around him momentarily, but then Hunt passing him right back. They're still side by side, but Manias not jumping the finish line table. So Fitzpatrick, then Prin and Gatland, Hubbard, Cavacuti, Carr, Burns, Leitzel, Shirley, Wilson, Sullivan, and Johnson inside of the top 10 with under 10 minutes and 2 laps to go. Is Johnson just flying, and his rear end doesn't need to know where it's going because he's going so fast that by the time it hits the ground again, he's already going way faster. Oh man, a big kick there for Johnson. Trying to weave around some lapped riders. He's actually got quite a big group of lap riders ahead of him. 33-second lead though. I mean, he is flying around this track and continuing to add on to the time that he's already got. He did a 45.6 last time by, so that may have been his first little chink in the armor, if you will, because so far he had been almost flawless and had stretched it out to almost 40 seconds. Then had a slow lap and has already got it back out to 34.5 seconds. So incredible performance right now from Johnson, and it just seems like it keeps getting better. Is he trying to win this race by a minute? Because it doesn't seem like he's willing to let off the gas. 33.7, and still one of the few guys to cleanly downside the finish line table on these 250s. Look at that line though. Johnson hops out of the inside so he could go to the outside, hit a smoother line, and land on a group of lap traffic that had collided. Unfortunate timing. The 520 of Emmett Sund there with the 20, actually. So the 20 machine buried down the field. And no harm, no foul for Johnson crashing there because Sullivan is still quite far back. But Sullivan in second now, pretty locked down. Jaden Wilson's lost quite a bit of time. And Trevor Burns might actually have a shot at catching him. And he's bringing Logan Leitzel with him. So a couple guys inside of the top 10 trying to knock on the door for a podium and catch Jaden Wilson on the Covenant number 260. Wilson was in second for a long while in this race, then crashed it away to Sullivan, and now Burns and Leitzel are trying to close that gap down. Seth Shirley runs in 6th. Cavacuti is in 7th. Jacob Hubbard in 8th. Seth Carr in 9th. Neil Fitzpatrick rounds out the top 10 with Nathan Prynn in 11th. So Prynn, who had worked his way into the top 10, has now worked his way out of the top 10 somehow, some way. And he has got to go back to the drawing board. This was the man that finished second in the first moto a little earlier on, so he's still trying to end up on the Grand Prix podium. It's looking like a pretty long stretch to do so, though. Still making some good progress, though. Up into 9th, 1.2 seconds off of 8th. Incredibly, though, he is potentially in danger of being lapped before long, though. He has still just got maybe 5 seconds ahead of Payson Johnson. And this titanic battle now for 8th as Prynn shoots up the inside, and Fitzpatrick gets double clipped and goes to the ground as Prynn, and then Hubbard went through. Now he's 11 seconds off of 7th. Cavacuti, who just went down. Seth Shirley hopping over Logan Leitzel there. So this is all still somewhat possible for Prynn to make up a few more places and really help his case out here. Interesting dynamic, no question about it. And here we go. That battle for third is finally starting to brew. Trevor Burns has caught his teammate Jaden Wilson. Long time coming. Burns has been working his way forward this entire race, and now up the inside, not past him just yet, and lap traffic aplenty as near contact between the teammates there. Almost came to blows a little bit. They carry speed through the wave section, jumping down the backside. And Wilson so far has responded to that pressure and is looking to try to get back away, but the lap traffic, oh, riders going down there as well. Oh, Wilson slides it out after the race tech step down. And Trevor Burns is able to finally scoop by and get up into third. Now the question is, can he hold it, or will his teammate Wilson have something to say about it in the closing stages of this race? We have still got 3.5 minutes plus 2 laps left in this one. And look at that, already a mistake. Burns off the track around the outside. Wilson goes and back into third. Wasting no time at all, and a mistake for Trevor Burns after the finish line jump was just enough for Jaden Wilson to recapitalize on it. And hey, you know what? 11 seconds in it now between Johnson out front and Sullivan. So this is not looking so cut and dry anymore for Payson Johnson. He has got to remain focused. Over the wall, jumping down to the finish line. And Sullivan, definitely can see that gap has come down. I mean, he is not that far back whatsoever. Jaden Wilson, Trevor Burns has lost so much ground to Jaden Wilson, so he must have just crashed after that. And then still Leitzel, Shirley, and then Prynn. Prynn looks like 8th is going to be his best. He has got quite a bit of road to make up on Seth Shirley ahead of him. Seth Carr, Neil Fitzpatrick, Jacob Hubbard. Oh, and Fitzpatrick lays it over and goes down. So it's becoming a battle of the crashes, if you will. And they're not crashing would be the benefit, of course, because so many guys are crashing late in this race, as Jaden Wilson just did right there, that just staying on two wheels is so much more helpful. Doesn't matter the lap times you're running. Matters a little bit. Can't be like 18 seconds a lap slower, but you get the point. Don't need to be putting the burners down. Just got to try to stay on two wheels as this track remains tricky in its own right, but it continues to develop and get worse. Man, there's not much in it between Johnson and Sullivan. Actually, let's take a look at lap times. 12.8 second gap, a 39.8 for Sullivan, 39.9 for Johnson. I mean, they're literally running the exact same laps. So for Johnson, as just mentioned, it comes down to not crashing. Johnson has to do whatever it takes to stay on two wheels at all costs. Because the second he crashes again, Sullivan is running his pace, and he's doing it arguably more consistently. So I think Johnson, after a long while there, putting in so much attention into the fast laps that he was running, coming off of that tunnel vision just a little bit and trying to refocus down the stretch as time just now expires. So two-lap board coming out this time by. Looks like Johnson has actually stretched it out just a little bit more again. Lap traffic. Hopefully not coming too much into play here. Big scrub under that guy. Almost got landed on. And now out to 24 seconds as he lays down a 36.1. So Sullivan made a mistake. Here we go again. Trevor Burns and Jaden Wilson, and Burns goes down just like that. So the second Burns got back into 30, crashes it away again. And this time, it cost him 2 spots, I think. Well, he's going to go down again. No, he still hasn't lost that other spot. Shirley down. Seth Shirley hits the deck. And I don't know who just flipped into him. So Logan Leitzel goes by. Shirley now regrouping. And suddenly, not out of the question, Nathan Prin could get a couple more spots here. Also been hearing Isaiah Dickerson's absolutely flying in 37.9 up to P8. So Dickerson on the move, maybe too little too late to get himself some very valuable points, but he's really done a fantastic job of salvaging what he can with this 8th. Ooh, pushing the envelope a little bit too much. So off the track he goes, and Prin up the road. Trying to close up to Shirley in 6th. Got Leitzel 5th. Burns 4th. Jaden Wilson looks like 3rd is pretty well locked up. Sullivan pretty far back right now. And a white flag is out. Payson Johnson on his way to a second moto victory here. And should get on the podium. He might even be second overall, depending on how the overalls shake down. But there's so much parity in this group. Johnson's 6th in the first moto. Looked like it was going to be a bit of a blemish for him, but it actually turns out he pretty much is on par with everybody else, because the people who had good first motos, aside from Sullivan, are having bad second motos. Prin, Dickerson, just to name a few. But for Payson Johnson, pretty much exactly what he was hoping to do in this second moto after that rough first one. Get a good start, get out front early, open that gap up, and run an incredible pace while doing it. Executed that to perfection and afforded himself the ability to crash quite a bit down the stretch. Went from a 41-second lead down to just 11, and now opened it back out to 22 with the late Sullivan crash. But a solid effort here in the second moto, and Payson Johnson gonna bring it down to the flag. Payson Johnson, your winner here in MX2 race number 2. Man of the day, though, is this man right here in second. Luke Sullivan on the number 11 Phil's KTM wins the first moto of the year and backs it up with a solid second place here in the second one. Getting a little feisty down to the finish line, but Luke Sullivan going to bring it down to the flag. And Sullivan, your winner here at the MX2 Grand Prix of the Netherlands. Jaden Wilson will hold on for third. Trevor Burns fourth. Seth Shirley in fifth. Logan Leitzel sixth. And Prin was able to get all the way up to seventh. So it's going to be 2-7 for Prin and a 6-1 for Johnson. So obviously Johnson beats Prin, but I'm pretty sure Prin also gets on the box. I think what Leitzel was 5-5, so 2-7 would beat that. Shirley going to go 7-5. No, 7-5, so 5-6 out of Leitzel. I think Prince still ends up third overall here as Burns comes down and finishes up in fourth behind Wilson. Shirley trying not to crash in the last corner. And this time it works in his favor. So a 7th in the first moto and follows it up with a top 5 effort here in the second moto. Well done for Seth Shirley. Logan Leitzel brings it to the flag with a 6th place finish. And Prin, the last guy on the lead lap, he was never lapped there in the end. And he will end up 7th as such. So cuts coming in now. Nothing changed up the road. Let's see if anything happened behind. Behind that, it was Hubbard, Dickerson, Cavacuti inside of the top 10. Then Seth Carr, Fitzpatrick, Gatland, Oscar Manias, and Cooper Hunt down to 15th. Brandon Nygren finished 16th, but on cuts drops to 17th as Johan Bordeaux goes up into 16th. Casey Cochran 18th, 19th for Ethan Gerst, and 20th was Caden Speck. And shout out Luke Sullivan, who has now just entered our chat room and lets out a big let's go for his victory here tonight in the Netherlands. Many congratulations, Luke, on your win. Oh yeah, Burns. Burns 5-3. 5-3 does not beat a 6-1, so yeah, probably third overall. Or no, 5-4. I don't 5-4, does that beat a 2-7? Quick math. So Prin just got 36 points, and Burns just got 34 points. So no, Prin still beats Burns. Yep. Sullivan winner, Johnson second, Prin on the podium. Sullivan with the 1-2, Johnson with the 6-1, and Prin with the 2-7. Shout out First Turn Films, aka KR Money, with that quick maths. All right, we're waiting for, here we go, MXGP race number 2, final race of the night coming up. And let's see what happens between Leclerc, Carter, and Lang in this one. Yeah, they hired me at RaceX for nothing, dude. I hear you, though. I can't do quick math. When I was in high school, math was one of my best subjects, and then when I was in college, it was one of my worst. I don't know why. Is that the Dylan Epstein, though? I think it is. Look at this dude. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. While we're loading in here for MXGP race number 2, the final race of the night, of course, want to give another shout out to eatrjerky.com. That is the folks over at R Jerky, the Wageman brothers, Robbie and RJ. They sponsored the broadcast this year, and if you use the code SYS20, that is SYS20, you get 20% off your order if you go over to eatrjerky.com. Get yourself, get the 7 Deuce flavor. You get the Western smoked. That stuff's pretty good. You can get the sizzling hot, but whew, it is hot for sure. But they also have some classic flavors. Teriyaki's the breadwinner, of course. We've got black pepper. So much good stuff over there. Use that code SYS20. Get 20% off your order. When am I coming to Florida? Good idea. I should come to Florida soon, huh? Got to see what all this fuss is about of everybody building tracks and compounds in Florida. Really, it's just because California taxes are ridiculous. And because Florida, the laws regarding all that stuff is a lot more lax. But I miss California being like the moto scene. I don't get like half the guys out here anymore. I'm going to say the 7 Deuce flavor does not give you the ability to rap, unfortunately. I've had it, and I still can't rap. And the proof of that is in the pudding. If you want to go watch that Monster Energy Supercross 3, the video game promo video, music video that Adam Enteknab made, I was in that video, and I did not look good. I looked awful in that video. I was I looked the least gangster of everybody in that video. So yeah, definitely I can't rap. I'm the wrong shade of white for that, I guess. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It is time for MXGP race number 2 here in the Netherlands. Braden Carter trying to regroup from that late mishap in the first moto that cost him the race victory, and in the end went to Tyler Lang. Adam Holm hoping for a better start this time. Leclerc trying to win this moto. But who is going to come out on top? Let's find out right now. It is MXGP race 2 in the Netherlands. Great start from Leclerc. Side by side with Carter into the first corner, and Carter gets put to the ground. Leclerc, Race Tech Whole Shot Award, and out front early on for the defending champion. He's got Dennis Fjellberg right behind him. Lang with a great start in third early on. And Siebold, he's also up here on the 9. Squeezing into the mix, though, is Matthias Janis. He's going to move into third right from the get-go. Leclerc, Fjellberg. A couple of Europeans out front here in the Netherlands. Leclerc out of France. Fjellberg out of Norway. And the 2014 Race Factor Gaming Outdoor Champions. Fjellberg in the 250 class, Leclerc in the 450 class. The two first foreign riders to ever do it. Fjellberg launching out over that double, trying to keep tabs on Leclerc early on. And we saw in the first moto that Leclerc, as the moto wore on, just could not quite come to grips with the changing conditions on the track. So best case scenario for him right now is to do exactly what we just saw Payson Johnson do, which is get a big lead in a hurry, and hopefully it be big enough that when those problems sneak into the picture, he can crash his way back and still hold on to the race lead. But he is not getting away like Johnson did, that is for sure. Fjellberg putting the pressure on at the end of the first lap. He's still got Seabolt right in the mix as well. And Seabolt was absolutely flying from the back of the pack in the first moto, laying down the fastest lap of the night so far at a 1:30.5 in race trim. Incredible stuff in that first moto, and now he's in a great spot here in the second moto. And already putting pressure on Fjellberg. That's incredible. Lane Burke's in chat as Seabolt trying to make this pass on Fjellberg. Can't quite get it to stick yet. Now does. And Seabolt up into second. But Lane Burke's in chat saying that Payson's time from the second moto in the MX2 class would have put him second in MXGP Moto 1. Incredible. I mean, I get it. I get if you're Payson Johnson, you haven't spent nearly that much time in the 250 class. You won the outdoor title. Now you've won the Supercross title. But what do you got to prove? I think time to move up to the 450 class. You've shown you got the pace. Second ever 450 main event. Almost won it. Literally rolled up to the finish line jump and pulled off the side of the track and let everybody go by. Like he has shown he has the pace to be a 450 race winner, possibly a 450 champion. You'd think you'd want to race at the pinnacle of the game if you had the ability to. But I get it, you know, still new to the 250 class. I just hope that next year we see him alongside the big boys here. So Seabolt is able to get in a second, but has lost a little bit of ground on Leclerc. Hasn't quite able to keep right on that rear tire. And Eagland, who caught Leclerc late in the first moto to finish third, is right in the mix as well, coming here from third again. Oh, Seabolt, he's down. Yeah, that was a bad one. Laid it over way too far on the single to flat and nose poked the landing hard, and you can only be so far over the front of the bike before it's an instant fall-off crash. You usually want to land on the front in this game for some reason. It's way more beneficial to land on the front tire than it is the rear tire. But that was just far too much. So going by in the process was, of course, Eagland, who is in third. Then Fjellberg moved by. He's now up to third. Collins is fourth. Magnetti is fifth. And Seabolt drifts back into sixth. Seabolt going for that launch off the wall jump there. So we got Bryce Whelan back here in seventh. He was fifth in the first moto. Caleb Hall here in eighth. Janice ninth. And Lang now finds himself in 10th. That's your first moto winner. Down the order a little ways here. Adam Holm, much better start this second moto, but still definitely not where he wants to be. He was dead last at the end of the first lap in the first moto. Now he finds himself, I think he just moved into 10th there. Yes, he did. So the number 2 machine, atom.com effort out here. Shout out to atom.com as well for coming aboard the stream with us this year, and he is sponsoring the preview laps for us. So you see Adam Holm at the beginning of the broadcast putting down a nice little heater for the folks at home to show off the racetrack that we'll be racing here tonight. And if you want to head over to atom.com, check out his merch, check out some of his songs. Does some cool dubstep remixes, and he also had a new EP single drop, so cool stuff that he does. Holm launching out to flat, trying to get a pass done there on Caleb Hall, but just could not quite make it happen just yet. Core Gaming, I'm going to kick you if you keep spamming. Wow, we got a change for the lead. Eaglin's to the front. Eaglin has taken over the race lead. Fjellberg to second. Leclerc back to third. So just like that, things change out front when Leclerc looked like he had it maybe figured out at the beginning of this race. And now he has to do the chasing once again. First, he's got to try to pass Fjellberg here, and Fjellberg always challenging to battle with. He is so sneaky fast. Finds ways to keep you behind him, I should say. And Leclerc not able to make that pass happen just yet. And now, Josh Collins is kind of sneaking up into the picture a little bit here, including Luke Magnetti and Seabolt. So this entire group is putting pressure on Leclerc. Collins with a tough landing right there, and here comes Magnetti. Oh, Collins sideways down, and fortunate riders didn't get collected there. Magnetti might have hit him though. That's why he ended up off the track. So how about this for Colby Eagland? Just quietly making a late race pass on Leclerc for third in the first moto. Now puts himself in a prime position to win the opening Grand Prix of the season. If he can bring home this second moto victory as Fjellberg goes down. There goes Leclerc. There goes Seabolt. That's Magnetti going by, and Fjellberg going to get up now behind Lang. So Lang has moved his way forward. See, lap time check 32.8. Tyler Lang, he is finding his groove a little bit here. Didn't quite get that last corner the way he would have hoped, though. 33.8 this time by, still a strong lap time, and definitely closing up on Magnetti. 33.6 out of Seabolt, 35.2 out of Leclerc. A 31.7 is Eaglin's best time. He just did a 33.7 last time by. But this battle between Seabolt and Leclerc is getting hot and heavy for second. Seabolt tosses it out, the same jump that cost him earlier on. And again, another mistake for the number 9. So Magnetti is able to scoot on by for third now, and Lang is suddenly in a position where he can make a few more passes in a hurry. Lang a little all over the place right there. Fjellberg going to try to capitalize, but then he makes a mistake. And Seabolt already back by Magnetti for third. So Seabolt wasting no time, and man, is he flying already. He is not that far behind Leclerc again. Your leader, though, Eaglin, gone out front right now. He is some 15 seconds up the road already from Leclerc, looks like. Dang, Seabolt, how does he do that? Double over the backside of the tall single, then triple into the corner. I mean, he didn't even gain time on Leclerc, which makes me think Leclerc did the same thing. It's incredible, though. Like, you know they're going fast when they hit that rut coming through the last turn, and they're, like, going too fast to hit the fastest rut in the track. Like, it's clearly the best rut in that corner. It's a 90-degree corner, so it's not like you need to turn that much. And they're like bouncing out of the rut because they're hitting it so hard. It's insane. And he has definitely caught Leclerc pretty quickly here. Trying to corral it back together after a little mistake pushed him wide there. Leclerc, another little mistake. Seabolt just carrying so much speed and momentum. Oh, and your leader's down. Your leader, Eaglin, is down after the double. And here comes Leclerc. Leclerc is going to be right there as Eaglin goes down again. Oh, a terrible track reentry kicks him sideways, and Leclerc has taken over the lead just like that. Seabolt's still right there. Will stay on board with him. As wow, Eaglin is just now getting going the other lane now. He has lost like 25 seconds in the span of basically 100 feet of racetrack. Unbelievable turn of events, how quickly that changed. And suddenly, it's a Leclerc versus Seabolt battle for the lead, which is, I think, what we expected to see more of in Supercross, and we did not get much of it. So Seabolt finding old form here in the Grand Prix circuit. And Leclerc, ooh, Ryder going down right in Seabolt's way. Wow, how did he hop over that hay bale? It's just incredible to watch these riders, the best in the world, do what they do. And their instincts, their reactions. This game is so hard, people. Like, if you've never played MX Simulator with simulated physics and tried to go this fast, you last a corner, maybe two. And they're doing it consistently for 30 minutes plus 2 laps. Seabolt trying to keep him honest, though. Lap traffic might be coming into play just a little bit here. Leclerc trying to work around the 46 there. Seabolt follows him into the outside. Look at this. So Seabolt, and then over this, and then triples into the corner. Look at how fast he's going. He's all over Leclerc. Over the race tech step down, and Seabolt stays lower. Does he go for the pass? No. Backs out of it. Right on his tail, though. Pulls up alongside into the wall jump. Tries to get the power down. It's a drag race up to the finish line jump. Oh my goodness, they're side by side. And Leclerc holds on. Seabolt just not quite able to get the distance on the finish line jump. And it's oh so close for the lead. Leclerc, responding to the pressure now, kind of ups his pace through these corners. He is absolutely pushing it, going Mach 10. Seabolt, every time over that long single jump, I think he's going down because he's so sideways off it. Leclerc almost through the front door, and Seabolt by for the lead. It was a small mistake, ever so slight. A nice save by Leclerc, but in the end, Seabolt takes advantage, and they just put Jack Haley on the 2-stroke a lap down. So Haley, a much better first moto, 7th on the 252-stroke, but now he's struggling here, and Leclerc goes down. A kick coming out of the corner. He doesn't fall off the bike, though. He remains somewhat close to Seabolt, but now Seabolt definitely has some breathing room to use to his advantage. And he's still hucking the wall jump coming down the hill. So can Leclerc pick it back up and respond? The pace they were running was insane, and Seabolt down! Seabolt clips the top of that jump. Oh, you would have seen it coming forever. And finally, Seabolt gets it wrong. So Leclerc right back to the lead moments after Seabolt has taken it away from him. And now it's Leclerc from Magnetti who's found his way into the group. Seabolt gets up 3rd. It's Eagland now back in 4th. And Lang still hovering right here in 5th. Adam Holm runs 6th, not too far back. Dennis Fjellberg 7th. Austin Bear is in 8th. Matthias Janis is in 9th, and Castaneda is in 10th, but maybe not for long because here comes Braden Carter, and Carter lands on him, and they both go flipping. That was Collins going by now for 10th, and who gets up first, Castaneda or Carter? It is going to be Castaneda still running in 11th, and sneaking into the picture here is Bryce Whelan, now moving into 12th, so Carter almost found his way into the top 10, and then immediately found his way backwards, just like that. Is that Magnetti? Yes, it was. Magnetti crashing. That was for 3rd that Magnetti just gave up. Lang goes by. Eagland goes by. Seabolt back through into 2nd. And let's see, where's the gap at now to Leclerc? 2.8 seconds, a 41.5 to a 37.9. So Leclerc actually didn't run that great of a lap. Considering Seabolt's crash was the reason he got the lead of the race, it's still so close. And Jack Haley finding himself right in the mix of all this again. He does not want to get in the way for the battle for the lead, but he also doesn't want to have to keep moving out of the way for the blue flags. 3.6 seconds. Seabolt goes right back to that line that took him down a lap ago and hits it smooth as butter this time. Gains a half second on that section alone. So Leclerc puts down a 33-3 this time by Siebold, 33 dead, and Lang, who has now moved up into third, gonna come down. I think he's about to best his lap even. Look at this. No, 34.9. I thought he was going a little bit faster. Magnetti now runs in fourth, and Adam Holm has clawed and scratched his way into the top 5, and any one of these guys is realistically still in it with a shot at winning this race, given the circumstances up front. Siebold keeps applying pressure to Leclerc. Leclerc makes little mistakes. Siebold crashes. The whole field catches up even more. It just keeps happening. So halfway through this thing, Siebold back on the charge again, has got the gap down to a second. Trying a different line here to the outside. Leclerc still going to that inside line, but Siebold's outside option seems to be the better one, because again, he has closed that gap down. And he is all over Leclerc for the race lead. Leclerc launching off of that double out to flat. Oh, Siebold will nose pick on that jump again. But that's the kind of stuff you got to do to battle with Leclerc. So let's see what Leclerc puts down now that he's being pressured. 33.4. 31.4 out of Siebold. Resets fastest lap of the race. Absolutely flying right now. And he just hit that corner insanely well based on a few good bounces, and he's already on the back of Leclerc again. This pace is insane. Leclerc downsides that roller a little bit better, but Siebold, he seems to be a little bit better through this turning section. Leclerc just doesn't seem like he has the flow through there or something, and so Siebold closes right up on him again. Jumping down the hill, and it is just nothing in it. The pace these two are running as well is insane. This is the line Siebold likes out here. Then jumping up to the top of the hill, not quite close enough, but he is just all over Leclerc. Does he go for the wall hop? No. Settles in behind. Goes for the jump across. Cuts back underneath. Side by side with Leclerc. They're going to split Ethan Parks perhaps. Oh, dualies down the back straightaway. And Leclerc holds steady. Siebold again rolls out, goes for the double, not going to get the line, but Leclerc kind of didn't get it as smooth as he wanted either. This race is insane. Oh my gosh, Siebold did not let off for that last turn at all. He just hit it wide open. That was incredible. 32.7, 33.7. Siebold just continues to lower his laps here, but has not been able to actually pass Leclerc. It's so confusing because they've been running nose to tail for like 3 straight laps, and they're not running the same lap times. Leclerc downsides out a little bit better again, but then messes up going into the back, so Siebold gets it a little smoother. Leclerc a couple mistakes, and then suddenly top of the hill again. Siebold's right there. It is just cat and mouse out front, and incredible onboard action here to watch these two go to work. Again, Siebold, he loves his line out here to the outside, gets the drive up the hill. Just not close enough. Not going for the wall hop. Leclerc mistake. Leclerc a little mistake. Siebold, oh, if he had downsided that, we had another drag race on our hands. Here it is, Siebold. Oh, the tap. Oh my goodness, the save. The rear tire just barely clips the top of that jump. He's trying to backside the tallest roller in that section to triple into the corner, which is unbelievably fast. And if he gets it right, he gains time on Leclerc, but if he gets it wrong, we've already seen he hits the deck. All right, so 34 dead, 34.4. Behind them, Lang losing ground every lap, but he's still just about 14 seconds off these guys. This race up front, though, you just cannot turn away from it. Nose to tail action this entire time. Leclerc, mistake. Seabolt pulling alongside. Not close enough, and elects to not jump out to flat alongside Leclerc. Lap traffic coming into play a little bit here. Seabolt, he's so smooth through here. He's trying to pull up alongside Leclerc. It's going to be bar to bar up into the wall jump at the top of the hill. Leclerc trying to hold steady to the outside. Seabolt gets the inside and the race lead, but Lappers into the way, and Seabolt immediately goes down and coughs it up. So Leclerc, simply by being forced out of the main line, was able to survive the barrage of attacks, and Seabolt, after all that time, makes the pass and then immediately gets caught up by Lappers going down in front of him. Unbelievable. You just don't get that kind of luck. Ruins the battle, unfortunately, as Leclerc now opens up a nice lead up at the front of the field here. So Seabolt now settles into second and has to go right back to work running him down. Magnetti off the track. He was up to third. Oh, he's going to go down. That's pretty much the exact same way that Eaglin crashed earlier on. But he didn't quite clear the double. So now Lang moves back into third, and I believe unofficially has the overall Grand Prix victory with a 1-3. Magnetti double fall off. Wow, so Magnetti down again, and Dennis Fjellberg goes by for fourth. Magnetti now back to fifth. Adam Holm. What just happened here? I want to go to the bottom because I want to make sure that Adam Holm didn't just disconnect. He is not moving. What happened to Adam Holm? Oh, I hate how long it takes to page down in chat. No, Adam Holm hasn't timed out yet. Oh, man, I think he's going to time out, though. He's losing so many spots. Oh, it just crashed. Adam Holm's game just crashed while running in fifth. That's the kind of stuff that makes you want to uninstall Sim, if I've ever heard it. Anyway, so Lang third, Dennis Fjellberg fourth, Magnetti fifth, Matthias Janis sixth, Braden Carter all the way up to seventh, Colby Eaglin in eighth, Braden Castellaneta ninth, and Josh Collins rounds out the top 10, and I think Adam Holm just timed out of the server. Unbelievable that this game crashed. I can't even believe that. Two just unfortunate events in the same lap. First was Seabolt and the lapper. Next up, Adam Holm's game crash. Is unbelievable. So with Leclerc not dealing with pressure immediately from Seabolt, he has fallen off the pace of what they were doing, which was those 33s, 32s for a while. Immediately runs a 35.2, and the gap's back down to 4 seconds with a 33.9 out of Seabolt. So Seabolt back on the charge again. And let's see if that gap continues to come down here. So that's why Magnetti was so far off the track then. Magnetti and Adam Holm collided, and Holm's game crashed. I mean, that's just... It's one of those things that happens so rarely. I mean, we've only seen that happen like twice in the history of organized race factory MX Simulator racing. But it happens. Used to be a thing that a lot of people would do back in the day is you'd be in like 02 or 03 and you'd be motoing the Supercross tracks trying to get a lap time in. And JLB's stadium collisions were really funky, so you used to just push somebody that was AFK up against the wall after a race was over and just run full speed into the side of them and push them into the wall, and it would crash their game. So it'd boot them from the server if they were AFK, which didn't really matter except for the point that you wanted to get the server restarted and someone wasn't, but I just remember doing that way back in the day. So Seabolt just made another mistake before the finish line jump, and it cost him quite a bit of time. He has now dropped back further than he was from Leclerc, down to 11.5 seconds, and Leclerc sitting in a position that would be a lot more beneficial in terms of winning this race with Siebold not hounding him for pressure, but obviously Lang's still in a position to win the overall with that 1-3. Magnetti comes through 4th, Fjellberg 5th. Carter trying to run his teammate down here in 6th. Janice right here is in 7th, going to pass Carter back actually. Into the wall jump together, Carter going to try to fight back alongside, into the finish line jump, and Carter simply by downsiding the wall jump cleanly gets him right back. So it's a valiant charge here for Carter, who is unfortunately taken down in the first turn. It's just two guys that were really going for the whole shot, and collisions in this game as such don't really afford the ability to actually make contact at that speed and not go down. So unfortunately for Carter, who was on the outside of Leclerc, he just got a little love tap into the first corner and was the first victim of that massive first turn pileup. Put him way down the field, and so far he has charged his way up to 6, and he still has some time to work with here. Fjellberg is right ahead of him, his teammate, so he could get 5th potentially here, and it's not that far up the road that Magnetti is. He's maybe 8 seconds ahead. Oh, but Carter trying to go up the inside of Fjellberg hits a lapped rider that was down, so Janice is going to go back by, and Egeland will also pass him. So Egeland now back into, was his 7th here for Egeland. So 3-7 for Egeland. Again, kind of like we saw at the 250 class. A lot of mixed results. Lang kind of the only one that's really putting it consistently down. I guess Leclerc, a 4-1 is going to be pretty solid for him. It won't be enough to retain the points lead as it currently sits. But definitely a nice recovery. So 2 minutes and 2 laps left to go here in the MX Simulator Grand Prix of the Netherlands. Leclerc trying to wrap off this moto victory, and it looks like he might get the 2-lap board, not this time by, but the next time. Let's see, he is going to cross with 1:34 still on the clock. And he just did a 1:34 dead, so it is going to be oh so close for Leclerc next time by, depending on the lap time he runs as to whether or not he gets another lap. And we won't know whether or not he got another lap until the lap after that to know whether or not he gets the white flag. Because there's no 2-lap board that displays in this game. It's just suddenly there are 2 laps to go if time expires kind of thing. So, what do you know? Let's see if we can find ourselves another battle. Carter and Janice together again. Janice getting around Carter, who is just off the track. And Carter's woes continue as he is worked his way forward and worked his way backwards a few times already in this race. He's not going to get any worse than 8th, it looks like, though, because Braden Castaneda is almost 30 seconds behind him here in 9th, but a solid ride for him. Josh Collins runs in 10th, and Austin Bear, I think, is the first person that's been lapped. No, sorry, Collins has as well. Castaneda is about to get the blue flag. Let's go back up to Leclerc and just make sure. Let's see how close we're going to get here. Oh, lappers. Lap traffic not really moving, and that might just well do it. It's going to depend on when the cameras switch. Time expired. Now camera switch, so that should be 2 to go. When the camera switches is when he officially crosses the line for him. So time had expired. So I'm almost positive we're going to have 2 laps to go, and that might have thwarted any late race charge here for Siebold, who put down a 35.4. And Leclerc dealing with more lap traffic, and he's just trying to take it easy around them. He doesn't want to get caught up in any sort of foul play here. But definitely the lap traffic is not doing him any favors right now. He's definitely having to take it a lot easier than I think he wants to. And again, just they're funneling right into the main line. They're just not moving. They got the blue bar and are not moving, which is grounds usually for punishment. They will penalize you, either disqualify you or straight up suspend you for a round or two if you are just being this bad of a lapper, which right now the 976 is being an atrocious lapper. The 976. Sean Hambrook not moving out of the way. He's got the blue bar under a second on Leclerc, and he's actually going 2 laps down right now, so he's not in a battle. He's in the main line right in front of Leclerc and finally has a fall-off crash. Not a good look there for Hambrook, who had a great first moto, but playing a bit of a bad guy role there just now. And as such, white flag waving, but the gap came down significantly, 36.6 versus a 32.3. So Seabolt just try to put in another one of those, I guess. You got 31 seconds behind you, nothing to lose. Try to put it down and see what can happen. If Leclerc makes a mistake, Leclerc makes a mistake. If you're Seabolt here, just run another qualifying lap. I think that's exactly what he's trying to do, and that is not the way to do it. He got a big kick right there. Ends up in the crowd. And that should be plenty enough for Leclerc to bring this thing home relatively safely. Quick run through the field real quick, though. Leclerc, Seabolt, Lang, Magnetti, Eagland in the top 5. Fjellberg, Carter, Janice, Castaneda, and Collins inside of the top 10. Bear, Godbout, Parks, Whelan, and Hull inside of the top 15, and with Donovan, Bendis, Big Lines, Atkinson, and Adams rounding out your final points paying position. That is where it currently stands here on the final lap of the race at the MXS Grand Prix of the Netherlands, as Leclerc brings it down. And with just a couple turns to go, he is going to solidify this race win. Seabolt gave it a good try here towards the end, but unless a disaster into this last corner for Leclerc, it is all his for the taking. Into the final corner and out. He was on top last year. He's going to be on top here today in the second moto this time, though. Leclerc takes the win in MXGP Race 2. Seabolt 2.5 down at the end and ran a 32.4 on the last lap of the race, so he definitely got it close. But this is going to be the man of the day, similar to what we saw out of Luke Sullivan in the MX2 class early on. You don't need to win the final moto to win the overall, and Lang was the most consistent rider on the day, wins the first moto, and is on his way to a 3rd place finish here in the second, which will be good enough to win the overall. So here it is. Tyler Lang brings it down to the flag, and right up to the MXGP class, Tyler Lang wins the MXGP of the Netherlands on his 450 class debut. Incredible stuff. Luke Sullivan there in 4th. Eagland crosses the line in 5th. Dennis Fjellberg will end this one up in the 6th spot. 7th, Carter coming down here. And he's got it all locked up. Janice will be 8th in this one. Castaneda was 9th. Collins 10th. 11th, Froston Bear. 12th for Godbout. 13th was Ethan Parks. Bryce Whelan 14th. Caleb Hall in 15th. Chase Donovan 16th, Noah Bindus in 17th, Liam Atkinson 18th, Bobby Big Lines here in 19th, and Trent Adams will indeed score the final point as Sean Hambrook was the first rider 2 laps down, and we saw how that was going for him. Just waiting for a couple more guys to finish. Atkinson crosses 18th, Bobby Big Lines 19th, and Trent Adams will be 20th, so we'll wait for cuts to come in and take a look. But tentatively, Tyler Lang has won the MX Simulator Grand Prix of the Netherlands. Great ride for the Underground RC outfit. We'll wait and see for those cuts to come in and see if anything changes. Just a second now. Finally, the last runner crosses the line. Cuts are in, and no, Seabolt actually lost quite a bit of time on cuts. and everybody else stayed the same inside the top 20. So congratulations, Tyler Lang, your winner here in the Netherlands. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight to the MX Simulator Grand Prix of the Netherlands. Appreciate everybody that hung out tonight, stopped by, had a good time. Of course, big shout out to the crew at Race Director Gaming for putting on this GP season. We're going to be here for 12 rounds, and we'll be back here same time, same place next week for round 2. But as it pertains to the MX Simulator National Championship, I'm sure some of you guys are keen to know more about that. We're starting this Wednesday night, same time as what we started here tonight, live here on Start Your Systems, and that'll be the Fox Raceway National and MX Simulator. We're looking forward to bringing the action there, and hopefully all of you guys will tune in for that like you guys did here tonight. A lot of fun having a lively chat like we had, a lot of people here tonight, and thanks again so much, everybody, for tuning in. Of course, shout out to atom.com and eatrjerky.com for coming on board with the stream this year. Thanks to those guys. Use that code SYS20 at eatrjerky.com. Get 20% off your order. And shout out to the winners tonight, Luke Sullivan and Tyler Lang. All right, guys, we're going to send it off here tonight from the MXSGP of the Netherlands, but we'll see you guys on Wednesday night for the Fox Raceway National in MX Simulator. Bye-bye, guys.